I'm Joseph.
And I'm Nick.
We watched episode 1 of Monster, the Ed Gein Story, now streaming on Netflix. So, Ryan Murphy's back at it again. Season 1 of Monster was the Jeffrey Dahmer story, which we talked about on our podcast some time ago, which is one of the top episodes of our podcast.
Oh.
So people were into that.
Okay.
Season 2 was the Lyle and Eric Menendez story, which we covered on our YouTube channel. That video also got a lot of views. So people were into that. And now we have the Ed Gein story. Why would Ryan Murphy want to tell this story? Well, Ed Gein is notable not because of how many people he killed, but because of the horrifying nature of his crimes.
And his cultural influence.
In the 1950s, police discovered he had been robbing graves and making objects out of human remains, a revelation that shocked America. His story directly inspired horror icons like Norman Bates, Leatherface, and Buffalo Bill, cementing his place in history as the man whose real-life horrors helped define the modern movie monster. So, you know, the way Ryan Murphy makes these tawdry-ass series about real people's pain is surely sending his ass to hell, but it is entertaining. And you know that he embellishes it and makes it,
Oh, of course.
you know, it's melodrama, it's camp, it's all the things that it shouldn't be. And that's why I think people are obsessed. And I don't think episode 1 disappointed.
No, but and again, we have making a very empathetic portrait out of somebody who did very heinous things.
So we're not oriented in episode 1 to time and place. So I know that Ed Gein, we're not even told how old he is, but I'm assuming it's like the late 1920s. I know he's from Wisconsin. It looks like we're in the Midwest with the weather.
Well, no, it's the 40s because the concentration camps were World War II.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So he's older. Oh, so you excuse me. It would be the 40s. And I'm assuming in the Midwest.
Yeah, because he's in Plainfield, right?
Oh, it is Plainfield.
Yep.
Do they say that?
I don't. I just
I'm
watched this. I don't recall if they say Plainfield.
Oh, well, either way, we meet Ed Gein, portrayed by Charlie Hunnam, engaging in a little autoerotic asphyxiation. He is in his bedroom with a belt wrapped around his neck, tied to the door, with a stool underneath him, in some bra and panties and garter belt, masturbating. And his mom catches him, portrayed by
Laurie Metcalf.
And she tells his ass, "You have brought sin into this house." It was just a little cross-dressing. I don't know.
Well, she was somebody that had some very peculiar views about women.
Well, she tells him to take it off. And then we see Charlie Hunnam standing there fully nude while his mom reads scripture to him. And I have to say, his body's a little too right.
You know, he is a farmer, so there would be a lot of labor, but that's a body that's doing more than just farm work. Yep.
Yeah, which is funny because he's supposed to be this unappealing weirdo that the girls don't like. But I do have to say, because then we catch him at the soda shop glaring at these two women. And if that man were looking at me that way, I'd be creeped out too.
He was creepy, but he's also still very attractive. And those two nondescript little girls, it's like,
I know he's still a little too good looking, but
his
voice,
the voice,
it was giving me, if you mix Michael Jackson and Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, he got a little affect.
So I think the voice and the fact that he looks the way he does, he's inadvertently cute.
Yeah.
Which is really disturbing.
It is. But that's the sad thing, though. Maybe if he'd been able to, because he wasn't allowed to socialize because his mother didn't believe in that. So, you know, he was a very isolated person. And, you know, maybe if somebody, I feel like I say this about all these Ryan Murphy serial killing characters. It's like, oh, it seems like if they just gotten the love and affection that all humans need.
Well, speaking of his mom and socializing, she tells him he can't be with a woman in any way. He can't look at him. He can't touch him. He can't even marry a woman.
Like, that is unreasonable.
I mean, that's unreasonable. How's he supposed to procreate? Are we just like civilization's going to end? What are you talking about, ma'am?
Well, I wonder if a lot of Ryan Murphy stuff is conjecture, but something must have happened to that woman for her to have.
Oh, I'm sure episode 4 or 5 will be like the backstory of why his mom is like that.
Yeah, because I would like to better understand, because that's insane.
You will. I'm predicting you will.
I mean, I'm sure I could research it, but I've been lazy.
So, of course, episode 1 kind of framing who this person is. Obviously, a very controlling mother who humiliates and emasculates him. Although he's, he likes to cross dress, so maybe that's not the worst thing. But
well, he like the opening scenes of this episode are it's all textures. He likes to feel things.
That's right.
Like
that's
a
right.
Cow udder, the fur of the animals, and he seems to
very tactile.
He's a tactile
creature. So
Dr. Lecter.
So we see his relationship with his mother. Then he has this little friend, this little blonde girl who I think her name is Pandora.
No, that's what the mother calls her. That is meant to be like Pandora's box. She's a hussy.
But that's the girl.
Yeah, her name's Adeline, though.
Oh, Adeline.
And that's played by, did you recognize her?
No.
Suzanna Son from Red Rocket, the Sean Baker film.
Oh.
The donut shop girl?
No. Oh. But she shows up to the donut shop, and poor little Ed Gein is creeping out those two girls. He creeps out the man who runs the soda shop. But little Miss Pandora, whatever her name is, Adeline. Mm-hmm. She shows up and she's happy to see her friend, and she's like, "Oh, I just love being around you because we're very similar." And he's like, "How so?" "We're both weird." And he looks at her like he's surprised. But
we saw him spying on her, putting on a bullet bra,
putting on a Madonna cone bra. But she's like, "I want to show you something," and she hands him this box, and it's pictures from a concentration camp that someone got from some dead Nazi soldier. And immediately Ed perks the hell up seeing all these dead bodies piled on top of one another. And then he becomes like even more excited when she shows him material of Ilse Koch, like the Nazi nurse.
The bitch of Buchenwald.
And it's like a comic book.
Yeah, which I think maybe is also a loose inspiration for Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS, that Nazi-exploitation film starring Diane Thorne. I think there are 3 of those.
Yeah. So, very heavy influence on him, obviously. Then we cut to Eddie has a brother, Henry. And Henry is talking about like, "Oh, I met this girl. I'm going to run off with her and you need to do the same. Mom is sick. You can't let her control you." And Eddie gets mad and bashes his brother in the head with a big piece of firewood. And at first you think, oh, he just knocked his ass out. And we see the brother get up and say everything's okay. Was that supposed to be a dream?
That was in Ed's head.
It was in Ed's head.
Yeah.
Because really, he killed his brother.
He did. But I think I understood that was meant to be kind of him mentally making what he did okay.
Yeah, I was 50-50 on that. But we see that his brother is dead. And then Eddie has the wherewithal to know that he needs to make it look like an accident, which was very confusing to me because how he does this, it starts a big like fire in the field and then drags his brother's body to it and then calls the police or gets the police. They come, take the body to the morgue. And the pathologist determines that the brother died from asphyxiation from the smoke.
Even though he
has this huge gash in the back of his head.
And rigor mortis is that it?
Yeah, and rigor mortis. What is it? Roses are red, not green like a tortoise. If I don't win this challenge, this gig is rigor mortis. Yeah. But I found that very confusing.
Well, yeah. It's my understanding that the Geins were seen as kind of honest, upstanding members of this Wisconsin community. So, he seemed like Simple Jack, right?
I guess, but I mean, damn, you didn't even.
They just covered that shit right up.
You're right.
They're like,
So then we get back to the mom, and she is.
It's devastational.
Well, really. Before she realizes her son is dead, because Eddie asks his mom, "Have you seen Henry?" She's like, "I haven't seen his ass in a week. He's probably off with that. He ran off with that trollop."
Yeah, she's got quite a mouth on her. I think
she does.
If for someone that believes in this person in the sky, I don't think you'd like that language.
Well, then she's talking to Eddie, her son, talking about, I only let your dad defile me twice. You know that. Okay. Like, so you've been like, that's really upsetting.
So he's kind of a good shot, huh?
And then she tells him only a mother could love you.
And
So it just like clearly the abuse he's endured from this lady.
And all women are sin.
So she has a stroke after she tells she has a stroke. Like she's sitting at the kitchen table crying, and we see that like half her face is paralyzed and she can't speak. Goes to the doctor. They say she had a stroke. So she comes home. We get a really creepy scene where Eddie gives his mom a sponge bath, which then cuts to an entire segment of Ilsa Koch, the Nazi nurse, who was the wife of a Nazi commander.
Played by Vicky Creeps. That was giving me the Zone of Interest vibes.
Yeah. So then we get like a 5-minute scene of her being a terror.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think that's supposed to, because there's no connection between Ed Gein and Ilsa Koch, except that people compared her atrocities to what he did.
It's just a Ryan Murphyism.
So it's just a Ryan Murphyism. But the mom gets, Laurie Metcalf's character gets well enough that she can like talk and walk with a cane, as she tells her son, take me to the neighbor's house. They owe me $10 for planting shit on my land. So they go over there and we catch the neighbors trying to kill their dog. Mm-hmm. Like the husband doesn't want the dog, so he's about to throw it into a fire pit.
I was reading that that's a real incident that happened, but this, how it's filmed, is much less brutal than what happened in reality. Because I guess that man did beat that dog to death in front of Gein and his mother, and she was more upset at the unmarried woman that was.
Well, yeah, because the mom is screaming at her like that she's a trollop or whatever,
a Jezebel, and
drops dead.
Yep.
So then we get the mom's funeral. Then we get like Norman Bates vibes because he's in this house alone, imagining his mom is in her rocking chair and she's talking to him. So I guess now he's hearing voices. And then I laughed because then it's like, let the cross-dressing begin.
Oh, yeah.
He immediately,
oh, yeah. Goes right to the dresser like, no one can tell me no now.
And then we see him with a dress on, masturbating in a corner in shame, hearing his mom's voice. And then the final scene is he tries to dig up his mom's grave.
At her beckoning.
Because he's hearing her voice telling him to do so, but he can't get to through the casket.
Bring her back.
So she tells him, well, dig the bitch up next to me.
She says, the whore laying next to me.
So he does.
Ma'am, that's so rude.
And so it's this lady who I don't think we had met prior.
No.
But she looks like, because she has this cut on her cheek, she reminded me, we just reviewed a film called Bone Lake. Mm-hmm. And she looked like the lady in Bone Lake who also has a similar cut on her cheek.
Sin?
Remember when Sin in the kitchen fight scene gets her cheek cut? So that's a random cut for people.
Almost like a smiley face.
Who might catch it. But yeah, I mean, episode 1, starts off with a bang. I'm intrigued.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Just that there's a lot of many characters we have yet to meet, it seems like. But this episode was called Mother with an exclamation point, which reminds me of the Aronofsky film. And of course, this episode was directed by Max Winkler, who directed all but 2 of these episodes.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. And he's, of course, the son of
Henry Winkler.
There you go.
Happy Days.
He looks a lot like his daddy, let me tell you.
Oh, fun. Mm-hmm. Genetics.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Ta-ta. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Nick.
We watched episode 2 of Monster, the Ed Gein Story. This episode is titled Sick as Your Secrets. Tormented by horrific visions, Ed turns his fixation with death into a grisly hobby. Years later, fiction and reality collide on a Hollywood film set.
Oh, God.
Whatever momentum I had with episode 1 is lost with this one.
We hit a Ryan Murphy wall real quick. Yep.
This shit was dry as hell.
I mean, part of this is one of his usual scribes, Ian Brennan, who's written many things, including Ratchet, which the name Nurse Bucket keeps floating into my head right now.
It's just like stretching, really stretching.
This episode felt endless. I was like, is this a 2-hour episode?
It really did feel endless.
Jesus Christ.
It starts with Ed on his riding mower in the field when all of a sudden we see like concentration camp escapees running. Mm-hmm. And they all run past him, but then when he gets to the house, they all try to break in. So I don't know if they're looking for safety or trying to attack him. But of course, he's having these visions saying that they know his dirty little secrets, basically. Mm-hmm. Then we cut to 1959, and I just thought this entire. I hope we're done with this plot point.
I don't think we are.
But we see Alfred Hitchcock,
which took me a second. I'm like, who is this disgusting character? I'm like, oh, that's supposed to be Hitchcock.
as portrayed by Tom
Hollander, from who you know from White Lotus and many, many things.
Yeah, but he is having dinner, Hitchcock, with this man who's telling him about.
It's Robert Bloch who wrote Psycho.
Oh, that's the writer?
Yeah.
I wrote down the Mark Ruffalo lookalike.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. I thought that man, Robert Bloch, I thought that portrayal was raggedy.
Because it is.
And I thought Tom Holland as Alfred Hitchcock was.
Oh, this is camp. It's not good.
But it's not fun.
He looks like, what's that series, Alien, with the alien American Dad?
Oh, yes. Well, that's probably a better reference, but I thought he looked like if Nutty Professor the Clumps, if they had like a white relative.
A creepy old white man with coked out eyeballs. Yeah.
Yeah, if Eddie Murphy threw in like the white old neighbor.
Tom Hollander is playing Hitchcock like he is just on he has crazy eyes. And the shape of his head, I'm so distracted. I don't like it.
It looks crazy. And I know Hitchcock was a creep and a weirdo, but like way it's portrayed is laughable, but not fun.
Well, because you watched Hitchcock with me, the film with Anthony Hopkins, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a very similar scene where Anthony Hopkins is peeking through the theater doors, waiting for the Janet Leigh death scene in Psycho. And then he does I remember Hopkins doing a little dance jig.
But part of what the writer is telling, he's basically telling Hitchcock all about Ed Gein's dirty deeds done dirt cheap.
All about Gein.
All about Gein. Speaking of which, the name of the episode, Sick as Your Secrets, sounds like it'd be a good song title.
It's giving me All American Rejects. Remember them?
Yes. But we hear mention again of the bitch of Buchenwald, and the writer is telling Hitchcock, like, she taught him how to skin people, basically. And then we get reference to the skin lamp. Then we see Ed making the skin lamp.
Mm-hmm.
You made a joke. What was it?
What was it?
What is Ed Gein's favorite dessert?
Oh, no. I remember this joke as a kid. Yeah. What is it?
Ladyfingers.
I think I said that out loud at maybe a bar last weekend, and somebody thought that was hilarious. That's a dad joke, but I think it's cute.
What is a popular brand of pork and beans?
Bush's.
Mm-hmm. Ed Gein lives off pork and beans.
Again, memories, because I remember my dad would, make pork and beans for us a lot as kids, and then we'd be like, who gets that bit of bacon?
Ooh.
And then you'd be so upset if the bacon was really like mostly fat. Sometimes it's like, I want the meat.
I have to say, my mom, I would have to beg her. I liked baked beans.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was at someone's house and they probably served Bush's baked beans, and I liked them. And I remember asking my mom, like, could I have? She did not like the idea of us eating those beans.
I would be absolutely fine never having those beans again. The Bush's baked beans in particular have a very distinct flavor. And I don't know if it's all coming back to me like Celine sings, but is it because there's brown sugar in it or something?
Yeah, there's a sweetness to it, as Kiki would say.
Mm-hmm.
But so then we cut to, okay, first of all, how old is Ed supposed to be? Because
hanging out with this little girl.
And, at the very end of, after we're done with the 8 episodes, I'm sure we'll spend some time going through like fact and fiction on a high, level. But if this is based on some reality,
mm-hmm.
His mom died when he was almost 40.
Right.
But he's running around with Pandora, whatever her name is, Adeline,
mm-hmm.
as if they're like high schoolers.
She seems, like we'll get the roller rink.
She doesn't look like a teenager, but she definitely seems like someone in her early 20s. And Ed Gein looks like he's 40.
Yeah, but even Charlie Hunnam, good-looking Charlie Hunnam as Ed Gein feels weird.
Now, to be fair, at the skating rink, we saw nuns, we saw older people, but the way he's interacting with her, and like, it's weird because she connects with him because they're both like, they have sort of a macabre sensibility.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes Ed have this false sense of safety around her, like he can be himself. So he invites her back to his home because he tells her, oh, I made a special bowl out of a human skull.
A skull bowl.
And she's like, boy, quit playing.
But let me see it.
I'm not joking. Of course you're joking. You want to see it? Well, yeah. Are you inviting me to your home? Yeah. Okay, let's go. So they go. And I have to say, there wasn't a lot of dread.
No.
Like we go to this dark house and he won't turn on the lights and she's getting scared. And I felt,
well, because we already know who he actually killed, and it wasn't a young woman. He killed like 2 lady store owners or business women.
Yeah, but then remember, I was thinking that because he's sort of while he was convicted of killing 2 people, he's suspected of killing others. So I didn't know if like Ryan Murphy was going to go full like
full tilt conjecture.
Full tilt conjecture. So even with that in mind, I still didn't feel uneasy in this house.
Well, also the whole town, it's presented as then everybody knows he has an attraction to this young woman.
And that he's a harmless simpleton.
Yeah.
But she comes over and she's frightened, but he finally turns on the lights and she's like, oh, your house is so dirty. You need a woman's touch. I really do. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let me start cleaning. Well, do you want to meet my mother? Okay.
Let me start cleaning.
So they go upstairs and then it's very psycho with the dead mummified body up there.
Are you hanging with girls again, Norman?
And that's when Adeline gets freaked out and runs away. But then
I don't feel right.
Ed starts screaming at his mother, which is in his head.
Yeah.
Like, I love you. And Adeline is outside and she can hear him.
She's kind of like, oh.
And she's kind of standing there like, well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he can give him another chance. He can get a little bit of this pussy. I don't know. Like, it's just, it's ridiculous.
No, nobody's loved me this much.
But yeah, he has that special bowl from a skull that he eats all his pork and beans from.
God.
I think the most disturbing thing I've seen so far in this series is that Adeline, while she's looking through his dirty ass kitchen, she finds a big ass tin filled with used chewing gum.
Yeah, that's the most disgusting thing.
My God. Yeah. And this man goes, well, you never know. Like some might have some flavor left.
Might have some flavor.
How would you try to do his voice?
It's just soft and kind of. Well, it's he's trying to do a Midwestern affect as well.
He's doing too much because isn't he like Australian or
British?
Well,
I remember
he's not American.
Queer as Folk, the original BBC.
Charlie Hunnam's already fighting an accent, and then he's trying to do this Midwestern accent combined with Kermit the Frog and Michael Jackson. So it comes across. It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, I like him enough, and I love Vicky Creeps, but even in this episode, I was like, ooh, they're just.
Adeline, before she runs out the house, she spies a leather-bound accent chair, and the accent is a titty nipple on it.
Yeah. She's like, is that an udder?
He's like, well, all kind of creatures have nipples.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, yeah, but which one is this?
A lizard? Is it a lizard?
So after his little girlfriend runs out, he's screaming at his mom, like, I love her. I'm going to go for a drink. You're not going to go for a drink. I'm leaving. And he goes to a bar run by this German lady named Mary
Hogan.
And she's being nice to her only patron. And he's like, well, I had to fight with my little girlfriend. Oh, okay. Well, I hope it works out. And she goes, well, if you need a lady, like, I know some bitches from back when my time in Chicago. And so obviously she's talking about a prostitute.
I know some girls just dying to come to Wisconsin.
She would love. Yeah, I know some girls would love to come out over here and hang out with a handsome man like you. Mm-hmm. And then he gets up and gets mad, basically saying you're like a madam, like you're no lady. But at first he says, you have a body like my mom. And immediately I'm like, oh, he's gonna kill her because he wants a new body to put in that rocking chair. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, he does. He shoots her after he has a hallucination of being in the bar filled with Nazis and Ilsa.
Let me tell you, I'm already tired of these Nazi fantasies.
I'm tired of these Nazi fantasies already. And we've only had 2.
But they're so boring.
They are boring. So then we switch gears hard back to 1950s and we see Anthony Perkins and Tab Hunter in a hotel room. And Tab Hunter's sitting in a chair in his undies waiting for his man to show up. And Anthony Perkins pops up cross-dressing.
Oh, yeah. The big no-no.
And Tab is like, if that's supposed to turn me on, to do the
Dick
opposite.
limp.
And also, you're going to ruin your career playing this role.
But also, Tab's a little jelly.
But Tab seems like a hater. And then
Mhm.
he's like, I'm leaving. I'm going to go downstairs and talk to regular people because I'm so tired of hearing about you and Alfred Hitchcock.
Do you remember the Tab documentary, Tab Hunter Confidential?
Yes.
I think he does get a little bit candid about how he bungled his secret relationship with Anthony Perkins. That was also out of. I think I remember him saying he was jealous too, because Perkins because of this film, had the better career.
Well, I bet that's partially why he feels like he bungled it, because he probably wishes that he would have stayed with him after his immense success. But whatever. Then we cut to Alfred Hitchcock giving Anthony Perkins a tour of the Psycho House. And that's where things went real crazy for me, because then it's like, wow, y'all are really reaching, because now they're sort of psychologizing Anthony Perkins that he aligned himself with Ed Gein because he's also hiding a secret. And I guess they're trying to align his closeted sexuality with Ed Gein's murderous ways.
His sexuality was turned inward, so it's perverted. Hitchcock did have a history of messing with his actors.
Yes.
So there might be some kernels of truth in this.
I don't doubt that, I'm not trying to rate it by today's standards, like how problematic it is. That's not my issue. My issue is that it's just handled so clunkily and crunchily. Crunchily is not a word.
Well, so they make Tab Hunter seem like the world's biggest dick. Maybe he was.
Yeah.
And they make Tony Perkins seem so weak.
While he's looking like a Jonas brother.
Oh, I thought he looked like Kiernan Shipka.
Or her.
Like he could be her brother. Just like I think Suzanna Son looks like she could be the sibling of Caleb Landry Jones.
Yes.
But they're trying to have this creepy moment in the Psycho house where there's
well, he's unveiling the different oddities and disturbing things, which the highlight is like the box of vulvas.
Which looked so plastic. But and then he's basically like, I had to cast you, Anthony, because you are just like him. To which Anthony Perkins goes outside and pukes on the studio lot pavement. And
that was too much for me.
How weak are we here? Okay.
Then, to make it worse, why am I seeing a therapy session with Anthony Perkins and his homophobic ass therapist telling him that sodomy is monstrous and are you a monster? And
Mimi Kennedy, Dr. Mildred Newman,
which I totally believe a therapist at that time would say that, but it's just like I don't know. I think trying to connect these dots the way they are feels ridiculous and tedious.
You're gonna have to stop the sodomy. Some of the dialogue that Mimi Kennedy has to say is really bad. And then it's like, oh yeah, you can present yourself for electroshock therapy.
Lobotomies are effective, a little out of fashion. Okay.
Well, yeah, whatever.
Again, do I believe that this therapist would say this? Yes, but I just don't feel like, we're probably going to mention this a bunch of times, but I do think the lore of Ed Gein is amplified by all of the different more, like pop culture references.
Right.
Like we've already mentioned, Psycho and Texas Chain Saw Massacre and Silence of the Lambs. And I feel like this series is going to have to address all those. So it doesn't not make sense. All it does is highlight the fact that Ed Gein is not as intriguing, maybe, as we thought, because episode 2, and we're already spending a lot of time with, that's not him.
That's the other thing too, is like, so are we absolutely tied to this 8-episode arc where we have to, some things just aren't meant to have the same they aren't allowed, they shouldn't be allowed the same gravity, I guess.
Well, it's like Ryan Murphy's production company gets $50 million to make this or whatever it is, and it's like that's what the Netflix wants, and so I'm gonna shit this out. So it is what it is. I don't know, we're only 2 episodes in. I'm not feeling this construction, but to finish the episode, we jump to cops investigating the disappearance of Mary.
Yes.
And there is a witness who says like, well, I mean, I did see Ed Gein's truck pull up, but he wouldn't hurt a fly, so it definitely wasn't him. And then we see that she was clearly shot and her body was dragged out.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
not.
the episode ends with Psycho premiering in theaters. And so we watch a group of people in the theater watching the infamous shower scene, except instead of Anthony Perkins and Janet Leigh, it's Ed Gein and his little trollop Adeline.
Yeah.
And then the way these people are acting in the theater.
So extra. I mean,
a woman goes into labor, people are vomiting, people.
To be fair, this was a cinematic turning point
It was.
in American cinema because we hadn't really seen characters sexual dysfunction or murder quite like this. But yeah, people, y'all, you're like, oh, that that scene, the shower scene, happens very early in the film. It's like within half an hour in or something.
Again, I'm not questioning the climate at the time. It's just like this feels kind of corny and it was boring. Then
And Olivia Williams is playing his wife, Elma Reville, and she's totally opposed to Psycho.
In the theater, we see that there are posters everywhere with Alfred, like life-size posters of Alfred Hitchcock.
Yes.
And he's just standing in the lobby with all these people leaving the theater upset. Like they didn't even finish the movie they paid for. So they're upset and disgusted, disturbed. And then the person who made it is standing right there. Not a single person confronts him.
Yeah, right.
I thought that was so weird. Anyway, that's episode 2. Do you have anything else to say?
No, we got to zoom through this shit now.
Ta-ta.
It is the evening of the day. I want to watch the children play. Doing things I used to do. I think of you. I sit and watch as tears go by. Little Marianne Faithfull for you.
Wow.
Her cover.
I'm Joseph.
I'm Nick.
We watched episode 3 of Monster, the Ed Gein story. This episode is called The Babysitter. Ed's warped search for connection leads him from a late-night rendezvous to a grotesque magic show and ignites a bitter grudge that's hard to shake. Well, this one was a little more interesting.
A little bit. I feel like if we're looping it back to the opening of this segment, it's a lot of Ryan Murphy in one sitting is like losing your mind a little.
So the episode opens with us meeting Ed's dad, and he is out of sorts a little. Apparently, he got so damn drunk, he is passed out at the base of the stairwell, and he has shit himself. So Laurie Metcalf is not pleased.
No.
And tells him, like, you need to leave this house. If you're going to act like an animal, you're going to go sleep with the animals in the barn.
Banished to the barn.
And he's like, you can't do that. This is my house. And she says, you haven't paid one bill in here. Like, you don't make a dime. You don't contribute shit. And he slaps her. And the mom knocks the shit out of him.
Yep.
And she's happy. She's like, well, like, he's never gonna be back. Like, let's go clean up the mess he made because this will be the last time. And then she's like, let's have a dance party.
Good old Augusta Gein.
But she tells her son, you must never touch a woman. You must never inflict the burden of a child onto a woman. I should castrate you.
I mean, it's too bad poor Eddie Gein. Nobody explained homosexuality to him. That might have helped him.
Well, it doesn't even have to be homosexuality. He could just engage in butt stuff.
Butt stuff, sir. No pregnancy there.
But then we cut to some more cross-dressing.
Yeah.
We have Eddie dancing in his little outfit, wearing a skin face mask.
Some Billy Idol dancing on my own.
Looking like Michael Myers.
Yep.
When all of a sudden the police knock on the door. And they want to ask him about Mary.
Mary Hogan.
The bar wench who solicited him.
From Bavaria.
But he changes clothes and says like, oh, I don't know. I was here.
I couldn't get my truck to turn over.
I couldn't get my truck to turn over.
Don't you know?
Well, what happened? Well, someone shot Mary. Oh, no.
Oh, she had a past, you know.
Okay, here's my first question.
Uh-huh.
Does no one know Eddie's mom died? They all know Eddie. They all know he's Simple Jack, so they all know him.
She has a gravestone.
She has a gravestone, and she had a funeral. A
A
funeral.
funeral.
That, you know where I got that from? Tyler Perry, F you Negro. Anyway, she had a funeral, and everyone knows him. So why are they all, like, are they pretending that she's not dead because they think he's mentally ill?
Well, because the cops, I couldn't tell if they're just humoring him.
Well, but I don't think so. Initially, but then when we see Adeline's mom later in the episode,
Played by Robin Weigert, who so far has had nothing to do.
she is screaming about, like, that family is effed up and don't nobody like the mama, and well,
Yeah.
I don't care, she is sick now. And it's like, wait, so even you don't know she's dead?
Right.
I'm very confused.
Well,
by
because
this.
Adeline's telling her she's alive, so I don't know.
But yeah, there we are. Okay, we've said like as we're watching it, this version of Ed Gein's a little too attractive.
He is just too, yes. Mm-hmm.
And he's very, like, dapper. His clothes they look pressed, fitted. He's tucked in. He has a very clean haircut. But then, like, we've already seen in episode 2 Ilsa in his fantasy dream acting like he stinks. And now we've had 2 different people say his house smells bad.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, I'm not quite connecting the dots, like how he's so dapper, but then everything else is nasty.
Right. Yes, it's too glossy.
So he goes to the soda shop and he's surprised to see Adeline show up because he thought she was gone. And she's like, well, I felt bad and blah, 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 blah. So now they're, like, back together, and she's showing him a news article of Christine Jorgensen, who people don't know is was she Danish?
She went to, no, she's American.
Oh, no, she was American. She was in the
Denmark.
armed forces, went to Denmark to get
sex reassignment surgery.
Reassignment surgery.
It's like, leave Christine alone now. But
we see Eddie get real excited.
Oh, he's like, oh, I got an idea.
Okay.
It's at this moment, though, where I just I couldn't hold back anymore. I'm like, did Ed Gein really have a girlfriend?
You really did immediately Google that.
I was like, I have to, because it's getting a little too much with Adeline. And sure enough, apparently he dated this woman, although there's a lot of dispute and embellishment going on.
I think at the point we're seeing it today, it's been immensely conflated.
Yes. But then I showed you a picture of...
Okay, who did you think she looked like?
I thought she looked like a character from a Todd Browning film called Freaks.
Okay, I thought she looked like if Rossi De Palma wasn't fashion. Like if she just had a homely haircut and no makeup. And so very different from the actor playing Adeline in this film.
Also, I think it might be Rosie De Palma.
What did I say?
Rossi.
Oh,
because it looks like it. But I was
Rosie.
I was corrected in public on that at one point.
Well, y'all can come correct me. Okay, so Eddie wants to take Adeline on a date, and this fool takes her to the cemetery, and but it's nighttime, so he's lit candles
but they're by his mama's grave.
By his damn mama's grave.
You couldn't spread out.
And he has something special he wants to do or say to her. And we find out this fool proposes marriage to her and uses a ring that he cut off some corpse's hand.
A woman with fat fingers.
A woman with fat fingers. And this heifer says yes.
Uh-huh.
And then immediately tries to fornicate with him.
Fornicate.
But he freaks out because they're next to his mama's grave. So he's like, well, mama said we can't fornicate unless you want children. And I don't think I'm ready. And she goes, I understand. I think the problem is people who didn't grow up in families are afraid of them. Uh-huh. So I know what to do. What does Adeline do? Take his ass to nannies and grannies. Takes him to like a babysitting job.
Yeah, he's going to be an intern.
And at first, the woman is freaked out by him because he's staring at her breast. But then he talks about his mom being sick and how he has to carry her. And the woman softens and gives this fool a job.
He says it's only 10 cents an hour, which is a deal for, I quote, all the frivolity I provide. Now, I understand that Ed Gein was a good reader in school, but I don't see this person using the word frivolity.
I was thinking that his intellect seems questionable to me. And then sometimes he says things that make him seem quite sophisticated.
Yes.
He's aware that he needs to cover his tracks to a degree. He's very adept at lying, but then also seems dumb as a bag of rocks.
Yeah.
But I'm not a psychologist. I don't know if that's a trait of, I guess, I mean, is he considered a psychopath? I don't know. But yeah, this characterization is very interesting.
Again, I think the screenplay is lacking somewhat.
So then we cut to him actually babysitting two kids.
Yes.
They look like they're like 5 and 6.
Yeah.
A boy and a girl. I'm assuming brother, sister. And they're looking at him like they're terrified. And he's bad mouthing the other babysitter, like, well, I'm more fun. I can do tricks. I know magic. Well, show us a trick. I didn't bring one.
Well, because their OG babysitter has polio and is in the hospital.
Polio's not funny.
No, poor thing.
But then what does Ed Gein do? Put these kids in his car and take them on a drive. And I was screaming, like, where the hell is Ed Gein taking these kids? To his house. And what's the first thing they say when they walk in there? It smells in here.
And it's cold, yeah.
So he's like, well, I'll show you a magic trick. So he pulls out his special bowls, aka
skull caps,
craniums. And then he does one of those tricks where it's like I'm hiding three bowls, and I'm hiding something in one of them. And what does he hide?
A phalange.
A finger bone. And then when they guess which bowl it is, it's like a finger.
Yeah.
And the kids are like, what is that? A finger? Where did it come from? It fell off an old lady I was walking by. So of course the kids are like, that's fake, that's weird, like whatever. And then he goes, well, I can turn into a lady and pull my head off.
He goes, did I mention I could turn into a lady?
Did I mention I can turn into a lady and pull my head off? And what does he come back out with? A woman's decapitated head. So then he's holding it and talking like her. And
then I like when he's like, I'm turning into a woman now. I'm like, every drag queen 4 hours before a show.
And then he pops the head off, and the boy is like, that's not even a real head. And then Ed gets mad and like reveals his own face, but he's wearing one of those skin masks.
Yeah. And
the kids are horrified. So we see him driving them back. And when he gets back to the house, the parents are there and they're freaking out. And the dad comes out like, I should knock your block off. And what does Ed say? I was just trying to.
They were bored. I was trying to entertain them.
And you said you were going to come back until 9 o'clock.
You owe me 40 cents.
Then what does Ed do? Confront the bitch with polio.
You stole my job.
You stole my job. You stole my job. And then
which is
he confronts her in the streets.
He does, which seems really odd. Again, considering the characterization heretofore, it's like, I don't know why. Okay, he's going off the deep end real quick now.
Then he shows up at the house,
which is giving John Carpenter's Halloween vibes.
It's giving Halloween vibes for sure. He shows up at the house and abducts the babysitter.
Again, though, the children saw him in the yard. They know who he is. Where are the police?
Where are the police? But anyway, then, and also, where's Adeline?
Well, Adeline has decided to abscond with him.
So we get a scene where she tells her mom that she's going to marry Ed Gein, and the mom is going off like, he ain't shit, his family ain't shit, I can't believe you're going to marry him. And so she runs off with him. But after that, we don't see her again.
Well, no, she goes into the house and she's like, I'm going to make this spick and span. And he's like, I cleaned up a bit for you, which.
Oh, that's right.
No, you didn't. And then he's like, I'm going to go kill some rabbits for dinner. And then she goes upstairs because she thinks Norma Bates is stirring.
That's right.
And the final scene of her in this episode is she's confronted with Ed in a lady's face mask.
But then it cuts to the scene in Psycho.
Yes, and then we have I loathe all of the forays into Hitchcock's world.
I do too.
They are terrible.
I do too.
And the makeup actually is pretty bad on
Hitchcock,
on Tom Hollander.
Also, Hitchcock's wife is annoying.
Poor Olivia Williams, because when Helen Mirren played Alma, she was not this shrew,
sour ass lady.
But it's like, Ryan Murphy knows quite a bit about film history. So we're getting snippets of William Castle, who's, he's a C grade Hitchcock ripoff with a lot of his films, even though I enjoy quite a few of them, like Straight Jacket. But by now it's 1964. I think Hitchcock is having his next Tippi Hedren film, Marnie, made. And if it doesn't go into this, but for various reasons, because Hitchcock wanted Grace Kelly again, but Grace Kelly had married the Prince of Monaco, so had to
Oh.
retire from acting. So that's how Tippi got into. Anyway, but yeah, it's just really, it's so corny because they go see The Bloody Pit of Horror, and they're both like, both the Hitchcocks are very turned off by it. Well, Alma Reville, and he's like, the audience has changed, and I'm the one who's changed them. Okay,
Then we cut to Anthony Hopkins.
Perkins.
Anthony Perkins meets up with this black man, and they go see Psycho. And then immediately we cut to the black man performing fellatio on Anthony Perkins
while he's watching
himself as Norman Bates.
Which actually, I like that perversion. That's an interesting moment. But then
we cut to them back at his apartment, and he goes, that was the last time, because I found a woman and I'm going to be normal. And then we cut to him with the lady I'm assuming he made Osgood from.
Beryl Berenson. Well, they don't say her name.
They don't say her name. But he only had one kid, right?
No, he had more than one kid.
Oh, he did?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. But Beryl, died on September 11th. She was in one of those planes.
Then we get another therapy session with Anthony Hopkins, and like talking about how he has sex with a woman. Anthony Perkins. I'm hungry.
I refuse to be the victim.
I refuse to be the suspect.
The suspect.
Victim. You refuse to be the victim. So we get another one of those therapy sessions.
Yes.
And then we get Anthony on the phone with his agent. And I thought that dialogue was so
terrible.
Corny. It was just like trying to give us the...
Well, he was typecast, but this is so glossy. Anthony Perkins was definitely typecast, arguably for the rest of his career, which, by the time there's Psycho 2, it's 30 years later. But he was in quite a few films, and some of them are notable, even if they weren't successful at the time. But he was a steadily working actor.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming we're going to get more with him, but the way this episode made it seem was like his career stalled after Psycho, but that's not true.
Sure. Yeah. God, I just read a headline from Cillian Murphy after he won the Oscar for Oppenheimer. It's like the leading roles, the offers weren't coming in even after winning an Oscar.
I think that's so crazy. Like, how many big roles do you think there are to spread around?
I don't know.
Like, you already got one. You have an Oscar. You made your millions. Like, I whenever people talk like that, it seems so selfish. Like, so you just think you need to be in every big big movie is going to be for you?
Okay. But there was Perkins was strange. He played a queer character that was widespread. I mean, he was a trailblazer, really, but his career did suffer for it. But he has some. There's some great. I love a film he did right after this with Ingrid Bergman. I think that Anatole Litvak directed, but yeah, he has some great work out there. It's just, but of course, Ryan Murphy's not going to shine a light on any of that and focus on the basics.
Then we cut to Hitchcock in his office, running his mouth about the next project he wants to do, and all his people, I'm assuming agent manager, like, chill. The studios only want you to do sex horror. They want something like Psycho. Don't nobody want whatever you're talking about. And then he's acting frustrated, like he doesn't understand.
Oh, right.
Which is annoying.
It is, yes. It's.
And then
but sequels back then were looked down upon.
Sure.
Like that was not something that people were proud of.
But it didn't need to be a sequel. It's like they want from you the thing that was a big hit. Like, right. That makes sense. No one wants you to now do like a musical or something like.
Arguably Marnie, which has a very famous rape scene in it, like that is also. Anyway,
the episode ends with us seeing the babysitter. I'm assuming she was in the shed.
Yeah.
And then we see Ed taunting her, and he brings down the corpse of what's supposed to be Mother. And then we immediately cut to that scene in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes.
Where the old man, like grandpa, that decrepit old man, is trying to like kill that woman by hitting her with a hammer. And then we see that we're actually on the movie set
of Texas Chainsaw. Yeah.
Right.
But I'm confused. Is this happening with the babysitter after Adeline's come over, after Adeline has left? Like where is this happening?
Yeah. I mean, this definitely kept my attention more than the last one.
I want each episode to end with, do you remember an ad? because you lived in Minnesota for a little bit of time, but there used to be this ad that played on TV all the time. Discover Wisconsin.
Man, because y'all Wisconsin's got Jeffrey Dahmer, Ed Gein. You got Making of a Murderer.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I don't know.
Also, what's her name again? Kathleen Zegler?
Kathleen Zellner.
Zellner.
What is she up to?
I don't know, but I wanted Sigourney Weaver to play her so bad. Can somebody notable write that script and make that happen? Because Sigourney Weaver could play Kathleen.
Yeah,
Zellner.
what is she up to?
Because that woman is fabulous. But
yeah,
I'm probably still working on getting what's his face out of prison. But anyway,
she served as a consultant to Johnny Depp on the Depp versus Heard defamation trial.
Oh,
wow.
Kathleen's like, oh yeah, pay me, I'll tell you.
Anyway, anything else?
No.
Ta-ta. I'm Joseph.
I'm Nick.
We watched episode 4 of Monster, the Ed Gein Story. This episode is called Green. Ed finds himself torn between two very different women. As the Vietnam War rages, tales of a real-life boogeyman inspire a young Texas filmmaker. So this is the Texas Chain Saw Massacre episode, I guess. But it starts off with Adeline, his little girlfriend. She discovers the corpse of like that's supposed to be mother upstairs.
Yes.
At the same time that Ed is like, I guess, in the shed or barn playing with the babysitter's body.
Oh, the babysitter, by the way, is Evelyn. It's played by Addison Rae, who apparently is a notable TikToker, influencer, singer.
Oh, I think I do know that name.
She's a Kardashian adjacent. So Ryan Murphy, I guess that makes sense that he would scoop someone like that right up to play. Because, I mean, she looks like, you know.
She looks like Adeline to me. I thought they were the same person.
They're not very distinct looking, no.
Yeah, but she's very popular on social media.
Yes, she is.
Okay,
so
work.
Get it, girl. Get your coins.
Her first major label single was a song called Diet Pepsi. Anyway.
Okay. I'm not familiar with her discography.
But I have to say, Adeline, the girlfriend, she's an ally because she gave Ed, after she discovers the rotting corpse in the mom's bedroom, she's screaming at Eddie, and then he follows her, and she has bra and panties laid out.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, well, I got these for you since you're obviously stealing my shit.
I know what you're taking from me. I ordered from Sears and Roebuck.
And he's like, oh, okay. And then she's like, you need to be honest with me. And then she starts asking him about the dead body, and he's open with her.
Mm-hmm.
This has to be all fabricated.
Oh,
but,
yes.
She's basically like, okay, work. Then we cut to Leslie Manville.
Yeah, love Leslie Manville. She's a highlight of this series so far.
She runs the hardware store in town.
Mm-hmm.
And when we meet her, she is on one.
Frazzled.
She has recently,
I think she got on diet pills.
Dumped by this man, and the doctor prescribed her some pills that are making her
unbalanced,
super fidgety and anxious.
Mm-hmm.
But she's also losing weight because she's not eating.
Yeah, we had to give Requiem for a Dream.
Like, are they giving her speed? Yeah, whatever they gave.
You on uppers, ma?
Yeah, what's the actor's name?
Ellen Burstyn.
Ellen Burstyn. Whatever they gave Ellen Burstyn in Requiem for a Dream, that's what Leslie Manville has. But Eddie sees her and is being kind to her, and she's all like verklempt over it.
And thus begins the
whirlwind.
A whirlwind. The fastest whirlwind romance I think I've seen in some time. Like, my Lord.
It's not even, I mean, it's like 24 hours.
It's not, yes.
From inception to conception. I don't know.
It's like the life of, how long do flies live? It's the life of some insects, the lifespan.
Well, so he invites her to dinner, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to go. And they go to dinner, and
I'm going to smoke a cigarette, and it'll bring my appetite right back.
She's motor mouth Mabel.
I think it's the opposite. Cigarettes are... No, anyway.
She's running her mouth 100 miles an hour, and Eddie is staring at her breasts.
Yes.
And she's like, are you looking at my bust? Mm-hmm. Well, that's okay. Well, your bra's really pretty. Where did you get it from? I've never seen one with so much lace. Oh, the man who left me bought it for me. Well, can I wear it? What? I want to wear it. Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Okay. This lady takes her bra off at the restaurant.
Yeah, and
hands it to him. And then he's all excited. They go to the skating rink.
His usual MO, I guess.
And then go back to, was it his house or her house? No, it's her house.
Her house, because, yeah.
And she tells him, if you pump me good, Eddie Gein, I'll let you wear my panties.
Oh, and we're off to the races.
So we get a sex scene with those two. That was actually kind of fun.
Fun, and kind of was leaning into John Waters territory.
Yeah.
The way that Leslie Manville is going off. And, she's British, and her little Midwestern accent, I think, is the best.
Definitely better than Eddie's.
Well, Eddie, when he gets upset, starts to sound a little Irish almost.
But he must have pumped her good, because we see him with her drawers on.
Well, he only gets a few pumps in, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you can wear my panties."
And then what does she tell him? Because he goes, "Well, what do we do now?" And she's like, "Well, why don't we go upstairs and kiss and cuddle, and then you can go home and pack your bags. You're going to move in here with me."
Like, what?
He's like, "There's something I have to tell you." What? I think I might be in love with someone else. What do you mean, might? Well, I mean, I think I was, but I don't know. And she slaps him like, snap out of it.
You're mine.
You're mine. And he's all excited. But I got a little ahead of myself because, well, first of all, at the restaurant, when they get their food, Leslie says a little prayer and she's like, good food, good meat, good God, let's eat.
Oh, yeah. She's a animated little firecracker.
And then before they even get to the restaurant, Leslie tells Eddie he's the only person who is ever nice to her. Like, damn, what's wrong? But then we learn that she's like the town bicycle.
That term is so
I know,
rude.
It's terrible. But that's what Eddie envisions his mom saying about her.
That's what my dad's father would talk about women.
And when they were at the skating rink, Eddie envisions Ilsa Coke. And she tells him, like, oh, that lady would make a great couch. So we already know he has, plans to do something with her.
Mm-hmm.
But Eddie goes home, and then, of course, his crazy ass tells his mom in his mind that he's moving in with Leslie. What's her character's name?
Bernice Warden.
That's right, Bernice.
I'm so wanton.
Bianca, I've never seen you like this. But, of course, the mom goes off.
Uh-huh.
Like that whore, that cesspool of disease. She is reading that lady to filth. Talking about her venereal diseases. So Eddie gets scared.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes back to the hardware store to confront Leslie about her venereal diseases and how she made him do all these bad things like drink liquor and
all the sins in one day, he says.
You had me do all the sins in one day.
Sinful cold cuts.
And then what does he do? Shoot her in the head and kill her.
Yeah.
He's messy. He's not very good at cleaning up his...
No, and I think that's why, he didn't... His kill count's not that high.
But he steals her cash register. It's also important to know this episode's called Green.
Mm-hmm.
He's seeing green everywhere.
Yeah.
Leslie's wearing green. When she's bleeding, it's green.
He sees green coffee.
Yeah, so I don't know what green's supposed to represent.
Well, green is,
the color of my love.
No. Jealousy.
Oh, envy.
Envy, yeah.
Money.
But green can symbolize a lot of things, but I think here we're looking at the negative connotations of green, because also it's, springtime and rebirth also. But I don't know, inexperience.
Oh, sure.
You're green. He's green behind the ears a bit too.
Then we cut to some deer hunters who are lost, and they wander into Eddie's barn.
I think this is a complete fabrication.
And they witness a woman, we can presume, we don't see it, but based on their reaction and what Eddie says, they saw some human body hanging,
mm-hmm.
and they freak out and run. And that's when Eddie busts out the chainsaw like Leatherface and does the whole thing, mm-hmm. and runs. And then we immediately cut to Texas, 1959. Mm. And we
73.
Texas 1959 is when we see that man at his dinner table talking to his little son about Ed Gein. And then we cut to
Okay.
Then we cut to 1968, and that same man is now grown up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that man is Toby Hooper, the person who
directed Texas Chain Saw Massacre.
right.
Yeah.
And we see him. You know what? I don't mind a little fantasy, but in a series where it's just like, I don't know, this shit is getting tired because every other scene is like a fantastical thing.
Yeah.
So then it's like, well, none of this shit is real because we see Toby Hooper in line at a Montgomery Ward and he sees a chainsaw and whips it out and starts killing people. And then we realize, oh, he was just imagining it. And then we see him with some buddies and he's written a script. And then he goes on some rant related to like Vietnam and Nixon and how like Psycho was a joke and it was so boring and we never got to see any pussy and blah, blah, blah. And so, of course, he wants to make something that's going to wake people up.
And this is what the country deserves.
He says this is, the movie that Americans deserve. And then we see them shoot a little bit of the film and then we immediately cut back to Eddie attacking those deer hunters. And then he guts them.
Well, after he puts a face mask on.
But then we cut to Texas Chain Saw Massacre. So again, I feel like it's trying to be like the visuals and the fantasy are, I feel like what it's trying to do is show us the influence.
Yes, that Gein is responsible for putting this energy out into the unconscious, the collective unconscious, and it was just waiting there for it to be picked up and revitalized.
But I don't know. I feel like they're just fabricating so much shit that
that's always the case though.
It's a little boring.
I mean, it just that seems that this is more obvious. Past productions are so like, Menendez or Dahmer. It's like there's so much.
Well, those two were so much more captivating to me because they're less of a mystery, right? We know more about those three subjects than we do about Ed Gein.
Right.
So, yeah,
plus, those were around where with modern media and
right. There's more documented, whatever.
Yeah.
But we are now officially halfway through. Oh, I forgot to mention in episode 2, speaking of Adeline being an ally, she was very excited in episode 2 to tell Eddie that she discovered some crime scene photographer and that she wants to shadow this person. So this lady is like very macabre, the way she's described in the series, which just feels kind of like, you're not scared of this man?
Well, what did I just sent? Remember, I just sent you pictures of Tippi Hedren with all those lions living in her house. I guess not. I guess some people just like being near danger.
Roar. I'm also a little confused. Like, so when Eddie is out in his barn dismembering bodies, Adeline is just chilling in her room.
I guess.
Wouldn't she want to, now that he's open with her and she seems intrigued, I was expecting her to maybe like be watching him or I'm assuming we're going to get a scene where she sneaks in and.
Can I be your apprentice?
Because she seems so intrigued.
Well, it's just so confusing because Murphy's been blending Adeline into the film scenes of Psycho.
Yeah.
Which I don't really care for, but.
When he blended Addison Rae into Texas Chain Saw Massacre.
Yes.
Anyway, that's episode 4. Anything else?
No.
Ta-ta. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Nick.
We watched episode 5 of Monster, the Ed Gein Story. This episode is called Ice. Adeline's dreams of fame clash with the harsh realities of life in the big city. Consumed by his dark desires, Ed commits unconscionable acts. So this episode was mostly about Adeline.
Ice, baby. Yeah, it was.
Which feels strange to me.
Kind of.
But I do have to say I kind of like Adeline as portrayed by this actor.
Well, the other thing is what this episode does is it keeps us in the world of Ed Gein.
Versus taking us to Germany or...
Well, we do go to Ilse Koch a bit in this, but it's very... it feels less zany, this this very loose connective tissue. I can't remember.
But you mean of Adeline?
Well, no, between different periods, between
Sure.
Hitchcock and Toby Hooper, and because I can't remember, I might have said collective unconscious instead of subconscious in our last review of episode 4. But again, this notion of Ed Gein infecting our collective subconscious, because I imagine that Mr. Murphy and the directors, who are mostly Max Winkler, did Ian Bannon direct a couple episodes? Anyway, I imagine they think these are Easter eggs they're throwing out there all the time, because here we have Ed Gein being a connoisseur of Chianti, of course.
Yeah, which is, a reference to
Silence of the Lambs.
Dr. Lecter.
Dr. Lecter.
So the episode opens with Adeline's tramp ass having sex with Parker Lewis, this man who looks like a young corn Nemec.
Mm-hmm.
And the purpose of that scene is to establish that Adeline is a loose woman. She is the town bicycle.
I mean, she said she has a trick pussy.
She does say that. Then we see that her mother, Adeline's mother, wants her to settle down and is insisting that she go to domestic husbandry classes. And if she does not want to do that, then she needs to remove herself from up under my roof.
That's played by the great Robin Weigert. If you aren't familiar with her, every time I think of her, I think of this indie film she did called Concussion, where she's a woman who hits her head and then starts exploring sexual tendencies.
She reminds me of the lady from what's the show where they talk a lot?
The Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, she reminds me of the lady from the Gilmore Girls.
What's her name? Lauren? Is that Lauren Graham?
Lauren Clutton.
Lauren Clutton. No, I think it's Lauren Graham. No, I like Robin Weigert a little more than her. Nothing wrong against Lauren Graham, but Robin Weigert has kind of this flinty sensibility about her, and she's a bitch in this.
Yeah, we'll get to it, but her sort of final moment at the end is pretty. She's not nice, but we see that she forces Adeline to go to the domestic husbandry class because Adeline's saying, well, I want to leave your house, but I can't afford it yet. Okay, well then if you're going to stay, you're going to do what I tell you to do. So she shows up and she's acting out. She's commenting on how gross the food looks. Then the host of the class...
I mean, to be fair, those Midwestern casseroles, these ladies are heaping their plates.
Well, apparently the tradition is like you don't eat all day.
Right.
To then go and gorge.
She goes, I told you to come hungry.
And then she goes, well, I did. But once I got a look at this buffet, I lost my appetite.
Well, there's that. I will say that I have put down food at buffets because watching other people eat is like, oh, no.
But the host starts giving like a candle wicking class, and Adeline starts acting a fool, dishing out innuendo about how she likes long, thick wicks.
She needs a 12-inch
candle. She
has a deep hurricane.
A hurricane's the thing that holds the candle.
Here I am, rock you like a hurricane.
So she is acting a plumb fool, and then she just says to the host, like, your son's a rapist. And I'm going to laugh at your funeral. And then we immediately cut to that lady drop dead from a heart attack after learning about her son being a predator. And Adeline shows up to this funeral wearing all red and giggling the entire time.
A Jezebel.
And then she gets up and says, I'm going to New York. So then we see her meeting with Eddie to tell him she's going to New York. And then she gives him some gifts to sort of like smooth him over, which include another comic book of Ilsa Koch and the Christine Jorgensen autobiography, which gets Eddie really excited.
He starts touching his erection looking at pictures of Christine
in the pharmacy restaurant.
Yes.
So Eddie's taking Adeline home, but then it's clear that he's actually trying to take her back to his place because he's now ready to get her pregnant.
Yes, I want to be a dad. I want to be a man.
And I have to say, Adeline's very, she communicates.
She certainly does.
Because she says, pull this shit over.
She's like,
listen, what we have is special, but I don't think we have what it takes to be a couple like that.
You're trying to force the sex too hard. Yeah.
And then, she's...
But much like she's trying to do something much too hard as well.
But he's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I have all these feelings that I can't release, and I have blue balls and blah, blah, blah. And what does Adeline suggest? Necrophilia.
Mm-hmm.
She says, well, you should have sex with someone who won't tell you no. And then she straight up says, well, maybe you should have sex with someone who's dead. And then we cut to them cruising the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
And they go to a plot, and she's like, oh, this one's fresh. It's only a week old. Like, ugh. And then it's next to his mother's gravesite.
Mm-hmm.
Does he not know where his mom is buried? Oh, this is all so crazy.
Well, apparently, Mom is not. She's not talking so much anymore.
Well, yeah, the voice is. Well, at least this episode, we don't hear her. Then we see Adeline packing her bags, and I'm assuming Suzette is her sister.
Well, yeah, because it's in her room.
But she tells her sister, like, you're never going to see me again. I'm going to New York.
You unsophisticated wench.
She tells her she's unsophisticated, so she can't come. She can't even come visit her.
Right.
Then her crazy ass gets to New York, and we see that she's rented a cold flat, meaning it's like the dead of winter and there's no heat or water.
Oh.
Then we come back to, well, first we see Eddie go to the theater to watch the Christine Jorgensen documentary.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes back home, I guess now inspired. And he starts macking on that corpse.
Yeah.
And then has sex with it, which
Uh-huh.
is, you know, upsetting.
A Murphyism.
To say the least.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned in the beginning, Ryan Murphy surely going to hell. And I believe that he'll get there via a murder. And I think someone's going to make a atrocious series about him.
His perversion.
That'll be his payback.
His peccadillos, yeah.
But poor Adeline. So we know, I mentioned in the last episode that in episode 2 she was going on about this photographer, Mr. Ouija, and how she wants to be his assistant,
his protege.
So she finally gets to meet him, and he's played by
Elliot Gould,
and he is annoyed with her. He's like, bitch, why have you been sending me so many letters? One day I got 3. Why? And she's saying how much she admires his work and
change your life.
You made me more brave because I'm not afraid to die. I want to be your assistant. I don't need a damn assistant. The last one I had, they were puking all over the place. Oh, I wouldn't do that. In fact, can I show you my work? And she shows him pictures she took in Ed's barn of the woman he killed. Or no, he didn't kill her. He dug her body up. Whatever.
He desecrated the corpse.
He desecrated a corpse, and she took pictures, but they're really bad. So Elliot Gould, Mr. Ouija, he is so mean to her. He's like, are you from No Talentsville, Wisconsin? Population 1? That writing was terrible. But yeah, he's very mean to her.
It's nice to see Elliot Gould still around, who, used to be with Barbara Streisand. They have a child together who is gay. He shows up at the very end of Prince of Tides, which you need to see.
It's not Ryan Murphy.
No.
Oh.
No, Elliot Gould.
No.
Oh,
his son.
No, Ryan Murphy's. No, the child that Gould and Streisand had looks a lot like Elliot Gould.
Oh. So, of course, Adeline feels defeated. She goes back to her hotel. She tells the front desk person or the manager of the hotel, you need to give me my money back. Like, because she's crying and her tears turn to ice. Which I guess the title of the episode.
Ice.
So
yes.
she goes down and says, I demand my money back over my dead body. And Adeline proceeds to beat the hell out of this lady with her shoe.
Which reminded me of there's a scene in The Bad Seed where Patty McCormick kills a fellow student with her shoe.
Oh.
Yeah.
But she takes her money and runs back to Wisconsin. Then we cut to a scene with Ilsa Koch, where now the war's over and she's been arrested for her war crimes. We see her being disrespectful at a trial.
Yeah.
Then we cut to her incarcerated, having sex with one of the guards, acting real crazy.
Telling him, I'm pregnant.
Get me pregnant again. And then that gets intersliced with Eddie Boy having sex with that corpse. Again. And that corpse is clearly like decaying. You can see and hear flies. And at one point he's like, I got you a gift. and it's eau de toilette and perfume. And what does he tell her? Sometimes we're not like we're not always fresh all the time.
Yeah.
So she stinks.
Ew.
Oh my God.
Plus, like, who knows how much semen's oozing out of her at this point.
God.
Like, that's so gross.
So Adeline returns home because the city whooped her ass, and her mom prepares a plate for her.
Did you hear that the cat's upset about it?
And this is where that actor gets to shine.
Robin Weigert, yeah.
Because she gets to tell her daughter basically like, I think I know what's wrong and it's my fault. You're like this. Like peculiar and unnatural. It's because when I was pregnant with you, I repeatedly threw myself down the stairs to try to terminate the pregnancy.
God.
And the way she describes it is pretty heartless.
Yep.
And she's like, I tried as hard as I could to get rid of you, but here you are. And I think that that's why you're like this. And then she tells her, you better find a husband.
Put up with your, what is it, your Nimrod nonsense or whatever she said.
Yeah, because if you don't, you know, time goes by quickly. It's pretty soon you're going to be an old maid like me, except you won't have
some embarrassing daughter.
Nimrod daughter. Oh, no. And then she just walks away. So, of course, we see Adeline go back to Eddie. Like, okay, well, I guess I'll marry Eddie. Of course, he's excited to see her. But when he, you know, takes his hand and runs it down her panties and feels her vagina, we all realize that Eddie has gotten accustomed to...
Eddie makes it with dead girls.
So he tells this poor lady he doesn't like warm vaginas.
Yeah.
And then we cut to this. I was screaming. We cut to him making this poor girl take an ice bath.
Yep.
To get her all clammy and cold.
She just, I left this. I wouldn't let the city treat me like this, but I gotta.
What in the world am I watching? What in the actual hell am I watching?
I'd just be, you know, I'd be like, fine, then you don't have to have sex with me, Eddie. Like, I'll just let you do your other weird shit.
We're at the point of no return.
Yes.
I don't. There's nothing.
We've sailed past that.
Yeah, there's nothing this series can do in the next 3 episodes to make me think that this is okay.
Well, I think that's often kind of the problem with Ryan Murphy stuff. It's like, oh, this shit's just being tawdry. So it's like, I don't.
I wish I could use a soundbite of that lady saying, "Death row, death row." Ryan Murphy needs death row for this. Do you have anything else to say?
Nope. On to the next one.
Ta-ta.
I'm going to the chapel and I'm gonna get married.
Okay, recording. I'm Joseph.
I'm Nick.
We watched episode 6 of Monster, the Ed Gein Story. This episode is called Buxom Bird. When the authorities uncover a nightmarish crime scene, Ed's puzzling explanations raise deeper questions. Adeline steps into the spotlight. I mean, barely.
That was my nickname in college.
What?
Buxom Bird. Actually, no. I did have a nickname in high school.
Yeah?
Thumper.
Because?
Of how I sounded when I was running. Loud.
Well, still loud.
My mom went to high school with Chi-Chi LaRue. And if you've ever seen Chi-Chi LaRue DJ, I'm Chi-Chi LaRue and I'm loud.
God.
Sorry, I've had things to get through this day with Ryan Murphy.
So this episode opens with Leslie, Bernice. Bernice is played by Leslie
Manville. Yes.
Oh, attacked.
The cat is triggered.
But Leslie's son, a very handsome young man who I think looks like a tall Tom Cruise.
Charlie Hall is his name.
You know, I keep thinking Ryan Murphy's probably like Tyler Perry.
Oh, yeah. A homosexual that hires all these beautiful young men who
make no sense in any of these roles.
Yeah.
Because you have like random people in the town, random deputies who look like they should be actors in Hollywood.
Well, also the sheriff, played by Tyler Jacob Moore,
who is also very handsome.
Like in the 50s in Wisconsin, these men moisturize. I don't think they'd be there.
Anyway, the episode opens with Bernice's son, Frank, who's a deputy who we had already met because he had gone to Ed's house like in episode maybe like 2 or 3 just asking some questions.
The
Oh,
funny
because
thing
they were
is
looking for Mary.
they look for Mary Hogan. And remember, Deputy Frank Warden asked about Eddie's mom because he's also a mama's boy.
That's right. Yeah. Frank is a big old mama's boy. And so we see him begging his mom, like, please, can you host Thanksgiving ever since dad left? And even like when your ex Bert left, like it just hasn't been the same and I have nothing to do. And Bernice is acting kind of weird. She seems like she's like flirting with her son. And then finally she goes, fine, we can do it.
I'm not that kind of woman anymore.
They make a list.
A grocery list, yeah.
And that's where we get Buxom Bird from because they're talking about a turkey.
Well, he says, I'll get the turkey so you don't get a scrawny one.
Like for the two of them.
God, the things that Americans had the privilege of worrying about in the 50s.
Then we cut to Frank and his partner, the sheriff, going to the mom's hardware store. And of course, Frank thinks it's weird that the store is not open. Where's my mom? But he has a key, goes in, and it's clear something's not right. The sheriff notices there's blood on the wall. Frank starts to freak out like there's no way my mom is dead.
Mm-hmm.
But then he goes in the back and sees that there's a gift box for Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
So they go to...
Well, so, I forgot to mention this. Was it in episode 4 or 5 with Leslie Manville? It was 4. Because 5 is ice. I thought it was kind of, despite that world-written romance of 24 Hours being insane, I thought it was really touching that this woman, who has some issues, but falls head over heels for this little serial killer. But she accepts his little kink and gives him her favorite brassieres, and that's very touching.
Well, it's interesting considering the current state of affairs that I'm supposed to believe that in the 1950s in rural Wisconsin, now we have 2 women who are very accepting of Eddie's little freak.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But whatever, go off.
That does seem like that is a bit of a stretch, although I do believe, especially with Adeline, that we are making some exaggerations for sure.
But
if someone in the 50s were able to find that was not a serial killer, that was able to find somebody that a woman that allowed them to cross-dress and gave them some of her wardrobe, what an ally, what a lovely person. And then he killed her.
So the sheriff and the deputy go to Eddie's house because they, suspect something's not right because Bernice had a box addressed to Eddie. And they go inside, and the house, of course, is disgusting. It stinks. There are moths everywhere.
Another Silence of the Lambs ism.
And then we see very strange things like organs and skins and like skin suits. And
there are just intestines out on the floor. Do you know the stench would be so bad?
So they call for backup. We see a bunch of cops show up and they're taking pictures and investigating. And I have to say, they really focus on the vulvas. This is like the 4th time I've heard mentioned or seen the vulvas.
Well, we so often get to see them on prominent display in a visual medium outside of pornography. So, yeah.
So Frank, the deputy, is just sitting in the middle of this house talking to himself, like, where's my mom? I don't know where my mom is. And then he has the epiphany that no one has checked the barn, which is unbelievable.
That is unbelievable.
Then you have like 24 cops scouring this house and no one thought to look in the barn.
This house that is a horror show.
So Frank goes into the barn and sees what he presumes is his mother's decapitated, disemboweled, mutilated body hanging from the rafters. And starts screaming,
looking like something from Terrifier,
while the sheriff is trying to question Eddie, who has just arrived back home. And so Frank starts screaming, runs out, and beats up Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
Then it occurred to me that I think Charlie Hunnam as Ed Gein reminds me of Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay.
Then we get to the morgue.
I think he's more attractive than Jake Gyllenhaal. That's just my opinion. Jake Gyllenhaal
Ed
looks
Gein?
Even as Ed Gein. Jake Gyllenhaal to me looks like Garfield, like a cat cartoon.
So they're at the morgue, and Frank is there being ridiculous, and we see the medical examiner trying to piece together parts because they're... I mean, it sounds like they're parts from 200 different people.
Mm-hmm.
So they haven't put together Frank's mom yet.
It's very
But I
hunky
just
dunky.
thought this shit is ridiculous. The way Frank is acting, how is he law enforcement?
Waiting 8 hours outside the morgue.
And then he's yelling, "When can I get my mother?"
Also, don't you want the succinct evidence to be gathered so this mofo that did this to your mom can get hemmed up? Like,
And what do you want with the body? You just want to bury her? Like, I don't know. I found that character so annoying.
well, that shit is annoying, but
Then we see the press has surrounded Adeline's house because they know that she was affiliated with Ed Gein.
Mhm.
And this lady comes out looking like fashion Little Red Riding Hood.
I'm ready to accept my contract, MGM. Yeah.
With a prepared speech, and she gives her little raggedy speech and says, like, I'm not answering any questions about Ed Gein, but if you want to ask me about myself and like my aspirations to be a photographer, or if any of you need an assistant, let me know. And then you see these photographers in the press screaming at her.
This small town girl. Yeah, you're so
She's so dumb. Then we get to Eddie being interrogated by the sheriff. And that was frustrating because he makes no damn sense.
Mm-hmm.
He's just talking in circles. Like, again, I don't understand. Is he supposed, like, is he pretending to be a dullard?
I think that this is where we are seeing that he has the wherewithal to manipulate.
Right.
But okay, again, so he's just like any other man that can't clean up after himself, but he can be manipulative. Like, you can't clean worth shit, Eddie. But he's like, oh yeah, straight up, give me a lie detector test. Like, he knows he can fake that. Apparently,
We then get a mention that Eddie, well, the sheriff asked him, "Were you eating these people?" And again, he gives some nonsensical answer. And the sheriff says, "Well, people said that you went around giving people venison." And then we get a clip of him going to a house, and the lady of the house is like, "Oh, of course, but you'll have to join us." And she's preparing it like, "I've never seen a cut of meat like this, but whatever."
ooh,
And then feeds it to her family.
some Dahmer shit. That's some the Dahmer was doing too.
I think we've already mentioned this, but I'm noticing more that Charlie Hunnam with this accent, he just sounds Irish to me.
Yeah, it's starting to sound. Original accents are starting to leak through.
But you mentioned the polygraph. Eddie passes it with flying colors.
Yeah.
He says, "I didn't kill anyone. I don't know." And it's like, okay. The funeral of Bernice, Deputy Frank's mom.
Mm-hmm.
That shit was ridiculous. What is this priest talking about? He was talking about like how the body is not its parts, but
there's only one body, even though every part has its own specific duty.
I'm assuming that was related to how Bernice was found.
Dismemberment. Yeah.
This woman who was dismembered, gutted, and mutilated. Why are you talking about how the body is not the sum of its parts? Like, I thought that shit was so tacky, and
that's because the writing of this series is tacky.
At the end of us reviewing these, I'm gonna try to get a comparison of like what's fact and what's fiction. I know there's a lot of fiction in this, but I better not read that the priest at Bernice's funeral really did give a talk about body parts. But I have to say, probably the most tacky scene thus far in the series.
Well, this whole episode and the theme of it.
Well, the whole episode's tacky, of course, but the final scene because Frank, now that his mother's dead, his sheriff partner invites him to Thanksgiving at his house. And then we get a moment where he gifts his wife an electric carver.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the end, Eddie's sitting at the table. I'm sorry, not Eddie. Deputy Frank is sitting at the table and they're ready to carve the turkey. And of course, Frank is triggered and envisions his own mother like a stuffed bird on the table.
Like the cook, the thief, his wife, and her lover.
Exactly. And then we see Eddie carving her. And so clearly he's, traumatized.
Well, the whole dramatic catalyst about needing someone to go for Thanksgiving is the backbone of this episode. And it's so annoying because even when the police go to the hardware store and she's not there. He's like, we got to find her. Thanksgiving's a week away. You goddamn simpleton. Shut up.
Yeah, Frank is annoying.
Ugh, I need somewhere to go for Thanksgiving. It's like, you know what you need to have a timeout and be on your own and realize that at the end of the day, it's just another day. You're going to be fine.
I wonder if he knew his mama was a hoe.
I don't think so.
Because he's acting like she is the sun, the moon, and the stars. Not that she can't be a hoe and be a good mom, but
Exactly.
but she doesn't seem like a good mom because she seems to ignore her kid.
She seems real detached. Yeah. Well, especially since everybody else is so apparently sure that she's the town bicycle mattress, except whatever demeaning term they wanted to call women that, you know, enjoyed themselves. But yeah, like he has no inkling of that.
Anyway, two more to go. Do you have anything else you want to say about this episode?
No, I love it when Netflix, though. It's been a while since I've watched a Netflix series, but they're like, two more. They tell you 2 more episodes to go, and it's kind of like I'm a parched runner at the end of the race is in sight.
Yeah, I want this to be over. Anyway, ta-ta. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Nick.
We watched episode 7 of Monster, the Ed Gein Story. This episode's called Ham Radio. Deputy Frank turns the Gein farmhouse into a sordid spectacle. Ed devises a unique method to communicate with his heroes in the outside world. I would say this episode was the most jam-packed.
It is. I think that the title of this episode should have been called Goodbye Sources.
Oh, God.
I'm flying over you. The Ryan Murphy story. Yes, it had a different bit of tone and a lot of conjecture.
Yes. So it's 1958, and we see that Deputy Frank is boozing it up.
Tell us what you learned about Deputy Frank, played by Charlie Hall.
His mother is Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yep.
Who I really like. I'm not going to front on her.
No, I love her, but
you know, I always think, what would my life been like if I was born some handsome white man to a famous, very rich mother and a billionaire grandfather?
Yeah, I wondered that too for myself.
But you know, I'm not a hater. Well, I am a hater.
Well, you know what? You get to be in a Ryan Murphy production who is drawn towards the Nepo pool as if his productions depend upon it.
He can't run to the casting room fast enough.
You know, he's like, hey,
to choose an attractive man to cast in anything that doesn't make any sense.
Are there any famous people that really want a part in something so-so?
Are there any famous, like Nepo handsome men who want to play detectives and?
Well, because the whole so Charlie Hall
townies. Why are there hot townies?
Well, there's usually 1 or 2 that are kind of weathered, right?
No, these are like,
but not like so pristine with
like
nice
Abercrombie
teeth.
kids.
Yeah,
what is this?
But Charlie, you know, it's a handsome person, but every single scene Charlie Hall's been in, I'm like, he's not cast well, because one, he seems kind of gay, and nothing wrong with a gay cop, but in the 50s,
I don't like that.
I don't
think we need gay cops. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I just think that he would seem sus in this time and place.
Well, actually, I think that he looks too young to me.
And soft.
I mean, I know that he's a deputy, but
there's a part. So he's boozing it up. I believe this episode opens with him funneling booze into a flask, and then the very next shot is the flask being emptied into a coffee. It's like, why? Well,
first he takes the flask straight to the head, and then we cut to him pouring something into his little coffee mug.
I mean, I guess as the son of an alcoholic, being fussy with what receptacle you're drinking out of, maybe, I don't know. But
wasn't he funneling the booze into the flask with newspaper?
Yes. So I feel like you could cut out a middleman somewhere here. But his sheriff is like, I know you're drinking right now, and he's like, you're spending all your money on booze and women. And that was my first note. I'm like, I don't know if he's spending his money on women.
Damn. Well, the sheriff is frustrated and concerned because Frank is clearly drinking and is not processing the death of his mother and the atrocities that occurred.
And he's not showing up for their clandestine meetings, I'm sure.
But also he has sued Ed Gein for damages and has, I guess, like, won the house. So now Frank Deputy Frank owns Ed Gein's home, and his intention is to auction off all the items. And the
Mhm.
sheriff does not like that. He thinks that that is like despicable.
It's unchristian like.
But Frank tells him, have you ever found your mother in a barn gutted like a hog? No? Okay, well, then I think I'm doing the correct amount of drinking. I did think that was a good line. And he's like, I don't care what you say. I'm auctioning off this shit.
Well, I don't know why you as my supervisor, unless you're side lovers, would feel that it's appropriate to tell me that. You don't want me to auction whatever.
Well, I mean, sure, I agree. But then, well, and the sheriff is saying no one is going to be into this. And then we cut to the auction, and there is a line of cars like down the highway trying to get into this house. It's packed with people who are curious. And it's so funny because then I was thinking, would I go to this museum?
Museum? Like the Ed Gein Museum?
The Ed Gein, like how those people are. The answer is yes. I would absolutely go. I would go to Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment. I would go to John Wayne Gacy's house. I would check out the shit underneath the patio. Yeah, like my morbid curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, I think most humans have that.
But it seems so naive of the sheriff to think that people aren't
It's
curious.
Like, maybe you guess what people probably get away with under your watch because you
think everyone's wholesome and Christian like.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately for Frank's pockets, someone sets that house on fire. So he's not able to sell all of the items. But then guess who shows up at the burned down house talking about it's a shame that Adeline's crazy ass.
And I'm a victim.
Didn't that seem crazy?
Oh, well, yeah.
She just popped up out of nowhere trying to auction off Ed's Chevy.
Well, that's one of many Ryan Murphyisms.
Because I know her character wants to be in the limelight, but that felt so random.
Yes.
So now we see that Ed is at Central State Hospital, so he's at a psychiatric facility, and we see that he couldn't be more pleasant.
Well, it's like it's the first time he's in a true social environment, and he's thriving.
Yeah, because it opens with him showing people how to make a rug.
Mm-hmm.
And he is just being so sweet and saying hi to everyone. Everyone seems to like him.
Especially head nurse Salty McGuire.
Salty McGuire is into some good old Eddie Gein. But before we meet Salty, we see Ed saying a little prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the warm showers, delicious food, and hobbies. But if you let me do my old hobby, if you know what I mean.
Wink, wink, God.
God, if you let me cut up some bitches, I'd be really thankful.
God's like, you got to be clear. Otherwise, it's apt to be misinterpreted.
And then Salty's raggedy ass busts in through the door, the head nurse. And she's like, Ed, I got something for you. You know, there was an auction and like you got some money and people are really into you. And it's $300, which of course is a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And then Salty's like, well, if you want to throw a few bucks Salty's way, you know, I wouldn't mind. Like,
at first she's like $50.
Yeah. If you give me $50, I mean, I'll get you whatever you want. He's like, well, actually, I've been looking through the Sears Roebuck catalog. Could you perhaps run me 3 ham radios? Why do you need 3? You only need 1. Don't worry about that, bitch. Get me 3 ham radios. And also, do you mind getting me this bra and panty set?
I don't judge, Ed.
I don't judge. Look at me.
I know, poor thing. I mean, how they have this actress, well, she's a nurse in the 50s, Megan Garakis. I couldn't help but think of Danny Aiello.
Well, that, and I could also not help but think that Salty and I would be friends.
Yeah.
She's the exact kind of woman who I would be friends with.
She'd
at
be
work.
My shelter in the storm of this crazy world. Yeah, she's a good friend to have, but her tenure is interrupted.
Her tenure's interrupted because she's not doing her job.
Yeah,
but
go figure.
So then Ed gets these 2 radios, and then we get some craziness because Ed sends the radios, as far as we know, to Ilsa Koch, who we know is incarcerated,
mm-hmm.
and to Christine Jorgensen.
Mm-hmm.
So first we get this long sequence with Ilsa talking to Ed on the radio. And the first time she gets on the radio, you know, she just she picks it up and says like, hello, is anyone out there? And then we immediately see that Ed is in bed masturbating with his bra and panties on, mm-hmm. and jumps up and gets on the radio and they start talking. And then he's basically saying like he's a fan of her work, but she's saying like, oh, I know who you are and we're nothing alike. All the atrocities people said I didn't do that shit. And if I did do anything, it was only to the Jews because they deserved it. And Hitler wasn't a monster because he made people crowns made out of made out of branches, reeds.
Could a monster make wreaths?
Like, okay.
Okay.
But then we see, I mean, obviously he did not talk to this woman. So we see Ryan Murphy's trying to do his due diligence by sort of transposing or mixing it in with Ed talking to his therapist. So of course it's all in his head. And then we get a moment because he's explaining to, I think it's Christine Jorgensen, about his gender identity and how he like sort of feels like they're alike. And she's like, boy, we are nothing alike. But he tells a story about how his mom caught him masturbating when he was younger. And she damn near pulled his penis off. And maybe that's where his dysmorphia came from.
Yeah, he's always felt a bit disconnected from it. Yeah.
But Laurie Metcalf, all she's doing in this series is looking mean and screaming. And then you said she looked like
James Woods. Like it struck me. I've been watching, this is what's episode 7. It struck me that she's looks like James Woods, but is behaving like the nightmare version of Kathy Bates in The Waterboy.
Yeah.
Ben Franklin's the devil. That's kind of how she is. Like, whoa, lady.
But getting back to Ilsa, was it me or did it seem like they were trying to paint it like, because, again, it's all in his head, but like that she is falling in love with him? Because she's like, you're so sensitive and kind, and you're like this flower that grows in the snow. And
do you like the Edelweiss?
This was all too much for me.
Well, because it's just so it's corny.
And then she asked him, like, well, what are you going to do? Like if you could get out of this. And this fool says, I'd move to Australia and invent a toilet that doesn't smell.
Yeah, he's sensitive. He doesn't like smells. Okay.
Really? Because everyone who walked into your house said it stank.
I don't think
Michael Jackson.
Right. The contradictions. I mean,
according to Lionel Richie.
Every human's a contradiction, I guess. But I like that, so of course it's revealed that the ham radios were never sent out. But do you like how we get like these bizarre details leading up to the ham radio interactions? Because we meet Christine. I think, they keep pronounced, for all my life, I've pronounced her last name Jorgensen, but they pronounce it with a hard J. Jorgensen. But it's like, I want her to be European. She's getting persnickety with the bellhop because she just got this swank hotel room that she had to ask for 3 times. And it's the night of the Academy Awards. It's like these details.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
But Ilsa asks Ed, like, why did you do these things? And he says, Mother told me to do it. Like, yeah, we already know that. And then Ilsa tells him, don't let anyone call you a monster. Which I think is funny because it's like, well, coming from another monster, but also the name of the series is Monster.
Right.
Well,
it's how we reduce people so easily with these terms.
And all of a sudden, a guard comes to Ilsa's cell and tells her Gollum is going to come get you.
Yes, he overheard see, that's then again, like with the Jorgensen part, like these fantasy details, like, are these happening in Ed's head to them?
It's pretty ridiculously extravagant, the liberties. And then we see Ilsa hangs herself. She writes a letter to her kids saying the only way to escape is death.
Love Muti.
That's the end of her. Then we cut to, this was too much for me. Well, it starts with Ed dancing in his little bra and panties to...
Right, okay, it starts dancing and I'm like, oh, I bet we're going to hear Goodbye Horses.
Well, no, before that.
Yeah.
When he's dancing to Christine Jorgensen.
Oh, yes. Well, Christine Jorgensen is doing a cover of from Flower Drum Song, I Enjoy Being a Girl.
And I have to say, I mean, good for, I almost called this man Charlie Day. What's his name?
Hunnam.
Charlie Hunnam. Good for him, because I do think in this episode, he did kind of show the most range we've seen in the series. But yeah, he's, he's cute in his little bra and panties doing his little dance. What's that? In my $1,000 pants.
People want to see me dance in these $1,000 pants.
What's that chopper?
Sada Baby. Yeah.
Sada Baby. Anyway.
Talking about doing Percocets all the time.
Yeah.
Like, come on now.
But anyway, that's where he has the conversation with Christine in his head about his gender identity. And I have to say, the way this man talks, he refers to his penis as his trouser snake and his whim wham.
Yes, when in the previous episode, it was an ice. I forgot to clock that he used the word alluring, and I didn't believe that for a single second either.
I would like for people who I would like for people to message me whim wham.
Whim wham.
Just, from this point forward, everyone referring to their penis, they must refer to it as whim wham, or I will not accept it.
What if Nicolas Cage and Peggy Sue got married? My whang. Like, oh, don't say it like that.
If you send me a picture of your whim wham, and you need to paint eyes on it.
Like everything everywhere all at once.
Yes.
It needs googly eyes.
Oh, you need to glue googly eyes to it.
Not glue.
And then I will accept.
Organic glue.
Or honey. Honey sticky.
Honey sticky. Well, you can make a paste out of flour and water.
You know, my mom, near her home, there's this lady who sells honey. And it's kind of a gag because, first of all, that honey is bomb and it's not cheap. But there is like a honey boutique. Like there's I actually am curious. I want to go visit it next time I go see my mom because it looks really cute.
A Honey Boo Boo boutique. There's
a Honey Boo Boo boutique where they sell all things honey, and of course, I'm sure it's quite nice and lush, whatever. But
lush,
it's buzzing.
I got this buzz. I got this lush honey for you, kids.
But the lady who sells the honey that my mom buys, she just sets her shit up on the street and next to the honey place. Oh. And her line, there are people lined up to buy this lady's honey.
She's like,
And that little jar that my mom gave me, I think is $30.
Oh my God.
And then the slightly bigger jar is $50.
For some reason, the image in my head was the competing Baba Ganoush vendors in Party Girl.
But that honey is so good. And, but I know what I was going to say. The jar, it comes in a mason jar, and it is so hard to open. Because it gets sticky.
It gets sticky. Yeah. You know what?
Yesterday, I almost thought I had to throw it away because we have one of those rubber things to help open the lids. Mm-hmm. I'm not strong, but like, I mean, if I'm having a hard time opening this thing,
we could have made it work.
No, but like my mom, imagine my mom trying to open that jar.
Yeah, I think you should transfer it to another receptacle. Because
yeah, but okay, so that was going to be my question to you. What receptacle would you put the honey in then?
Something you could squeeze it out of.
That's what I thought.
With a nozzle.
So maybe I might order.
Maybe you should send this honey vendor a note. Say, lady.
We need to do better.
You need to up your receptacle.
Your packaging game because, I mean, if I had a difficult time opening it with the device, I mean, these little old ladies standing in line.
What happened to my abuelita and her honey?
My abuelita sprained her wrist messing around with your honey.
And now she's in a home.
But getting back to Ed and Christine, he tries to explain to her, this is the next dance sequence. He tries to explain to her about his feelings about his whim wham and blah, 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 and that he's been admiring vulvas. And Christine is like, what you talking about, Willis?
A lady suit.
And then we get him talking about his lady suit, and we see that he would wear his, skin suit, lady suit. And the vulvas he cut off and placed them on him. And then immediately the reference we're going to get. And then that's what you were about to say.
And yeah, it was like right before I'm like, I was like, I hope they don't use this song. Of course it makes sense that would happen. And then
all of a sudden you start hearing
Goodbye Horses, which Jonathan Demme also used in Married to the Mob before.
Which if people don't know the reference, that's the scene from Silence of the Lambs when Buffalo Bill is dancing with his penis tucked between his thighs.
And I think that song was used in the Maniac remake with Elijah Wood.
So they have that scene in this series, like some actor who kind of reminded me of
Harris Dickinson,
who we might have brunch with on Sunday.
Yeah, we might.
Next Sunday.
Yeah. We got to watch that movie first, though.
Well, that's the thing. If I can watch the movie
but
first.
They don't even talk. Ted Levine gets no mention. It's Golden Garnick is playing Buffalo Bill.
He looked good.
But it's like, that's Ted Levine. That's supposed to be Ted Levine. Ted Levine is playing a character. Anyway.
So then we get that juxtaposed with Ed Gein dancing in the snow with his lady suit on.
Very Edward Scissorhands.
Which is a powerful image.
Yeah, and that song is haunting, right? But
But the best part of that scene is the look on Christine's face. She is gagged. Like, I am a lady and I'm in my nice hotel, and I don't know why you're telling me this right now. But she basically tells him you're a gynophiliac,
Mm-hmm. What's
which,
that, Lars von Trier?
which means someone who is sexually attracted to femininity.
Mm-hmm.
So she's saying you're just attracted to lady things. You're not a lady because you like to use your penis. And
what was one of these episodes? They're going into all the philias.
oh, were they?
Yeah, somebody's like gonophilia, blah blah, and I was like,
Were they?
Yeah.
Wow, I don't remember any of that.
Well, that's because I remember I cracked a joke because I was like, I think I suffer from iwanophilia.
That's right. You said you suffer from iwanophilia. Wow. So, well, all I remember is you saying that.
Not minimizing people. I'm not trying to minimize anyone's pain. I just trying to survive this series.
Wow. So Nurse Ratched shows up.
Roz.
Like literally, it feels like.
Well, that's the same writer. I
mean,
mean,
because we watched Ratched.
We watched Ratched. I love Judy Davis and Sharon Stone and
her son, who's all. What was her son? He had some disability. Like, didn't he have like no appendages or something?
Oh yeah.
Ratched was not very good.
No, and Sarah Paulson tries with Ryan Murphy, doesn't she? And also, there's one of the American Horror Stories is set in an asylum as well.
Oh, I didn't mention.
Is it season 2? Anyway.
So Nurse Ratched shows up, whose name is actually Nurse Roz, and she's like, Salty wasn't shit. I'm here to whip this thing back into shape, blah, blah, blah.
She's giving Judi Dench and Notes on a Scandal vibe.
And then all of a sudden, Salty, like in the middle of the night, so she still works there. She's just no longer the charge nurse.
She's demoted.
I guess she was demoted. But she, in the middle of the night, shows up in Ed's room because Nurse Roz is not playing with Ed. She's like, he's dangerous. She chains him down at night.
Like, no cross-dress, like Joan Crawford.
Yeah, like Christopher, Mommy Dearest. She straps his ass down. So Salty shows up in the middle of the night and gives Ed like a ring full of keys and says, hey, I thought I'd help you out. You can, stretch your legs at night, but make sure you do it when all the guards are asleep and don't make a lot of noise. And then we cut to Nurse Roz goes to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and we see that Ed is in there. And he says, I like to tinkle sitting down. And then immediately attacks Nurse Roz with a chainsaw.
Well, which is so, I could scream, she says, and he instead chops her up. We
get this ultra violent, stylized kill scene.
And of course,
then we see him take a shower and go to bed.
And of course, it didn't happen.
Of course, because then he wakes up to go to breakfast and sees Nurse Roz and has like a panic attack, which it was at this moment that I realized, in addition to reminding me of Jake Gyllenhaal, I think Charlie Hunnam as Ed Gein reminds me of Daniel Craig.
I see Daniel Craig a lot. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Ed's doctor sees him crying because he realizes maybe he's crazy. And so this was the funniest part to me, because the doctor's like, well, come to my office.
The doctor, who looks like Rudy Giuliani to me.
Yes.
Randall Newsom.
Well, a better, more sane version of Rudy Giuliani. But the doctor basically tells him, like, I was talking to my buddies at the golf course. No, he says I was speaking to my colleagues and we've been in the group chat and we think that you're schizophrenic.
Yeah, but it's like, what? So only because I collapsed crying in the hallway?
Only because you saw me having a little breakdown that you decided to tell me this?
Like, when did you have this diagnosis formulated? Also, with the psychiatrist earlier in the scene, this is how you know the writing is bad. This psychiatrist used terminology that said, you're schizophrenic, or you're deviant, Ed, full stop.
I wrote that down. Yeah, you're a deviant, full stop.
Ain't no way this therapist was talking this way in the 50s. Okay, when did people start? When did that become adopted into a colloquialism? Full stop.
So the doctor explains what schizophrenia is, and stupid little Ed goes, "So my mind's split in two?"
Yeah,
and the doctor goes, "No, girl, I think it's shattered."
Walking on
that was the Real Housewives of Atlanta shit over there. And then stupid Ed,
is it skedaddle?
Is it skedaddled? You said no, girl. Schizophrenia. Okay, he called it skedaddled.
Charlie Hunnam. He gives a nice teary little monologue, but
all of these series, because from Dahmer because I still remember episode 4 of Dahmer with the blind guy that
Episode 6
who Dahmer or I'm sorry, episode. Oh, you know what I'm
by
thinking of.
Paris Barclay directed that one. Yep.
Yeah, that was such a powerful. And then episode 4, season 2 of Pose,
Mhm.
when old girl is at the funeral to the Stephanie Mills song.
Mhm.
That was so powerful. Then I'm thinking of Lyle and Eric Menendez, the episode where the little fruity one is crying, talking to his lawyer.
Or Versace, even.
Like every series has a moment where it's like, wow, you were really on your shit.
This is kind of profound, yeah.
And had the series sort of had this energy, it would be a masterpiece.
Yes.
And I think in this series, we witnessed that in this episode when Ed is coming to terms with his diagnosis and the doctor saying that there's a pill that can help you quell those voices and stop thinking you can do things you shouldn't. And then we see him stand in the line to get his pill, and Nurse Ross gives it to him. And he hugs her and says, "Thank you.
I'm gonna be better now." I mean, it's just sometimes it feels like Ben Stiller as Simple Jack in Tropic Thunder, like in a remake of Awakenings.
It's very unserious. Charlie Hunnam is Ed Gein, but I will say this moment felt, I felt a little something. But we have one more episode to go.
Yay!
Ta-ta. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Nick.
We watched episode 8 of Monster, the Ed Gein Story, now streaming on Netflix. We finished it.
Oh my God.
This episode is called The Godfather. Ed finds new purpose helping investigators crack a disturbing case. But as the past and present blur, his terrifying legacy looms larger than ever. There is so much to talk about. At the end, we'll give our score for the season and our pull quotes. And I'll run through with my own little research, like fact and fiction, but
we did need a lot more time.
I know. So and we have things to do, and I don't think this series is worth all my time. But,
agreed.
But this episode has a lot going on. Essentially, The Godfather, referring to how Ed Gein inspired other serial killers, obviously popular figures in pop culture via cinema.
Uh-huh.
So that's what this episode is, like paying homage to Ed Gein. So we start off with
a true original,
Lake Sammamish, which I kept thinking of
Succotash?
No, the waters of Mount Kikating
okay.
or whatever Madonna said.
I can't imagine a world without roses. Okay.
But we basically see Ted Bundy kill 2 women
brutally, yes,
and have sex with their rotting corpses. Then we jump to Salem, Oregon, and we see FBI investigators, like the 2. They even kind of look like the 2 in that series Mindhunter.
Yes.
Who are from the Special Crimes Division, who are starting to profile serial killers. They go to visit a serial killer named Jerry Brudos to try to build a profile on him and understand serial killers. I thought that was a crunchy moment.
Well, I'm like, I guess they're not using the real transcripts, right? Because this dialogue is blah.
I know. And this guy is obsessed with shoes and jizz.
Just think of
how many times do you think he said jizz in his little 3 minutes?
The mental imagery that I was getting with the shoes filled with semen was disturbing. But what would he have thought of Louboutins also came to mind.
His head would have popped.
His little head would have popped.
Or if he would have had a chance. Well, I don't know if he lived to see Sex in the City and all those Manolo Blahniks. I don't know.
But he, immediately when they say they brought him shoes in his size, his red pumps,
in an attempt to ply him for information,
I'm like, this is a bad idea because he's gonna go down a rabbit hole, and that's what he does.
He does, because he's like, I'm sorry guys, I'm not gonna be able to focus. I need to masturbate. It's okay if you watch. And this man turns around.
I mean, that's compulsion, but
it is, and the prison guards just kind of go like, "Oh,
you dummies!
God, we could have told y'all, don't give him pumps."
No. Yeah, he can't help himself. His little head's going to pop off.
Which, of course, made me think of Cha-Cha Heels for Christmas.
Oh, yes.
It also made me think I've been saying I want to rewatch Mindhunter.
Okay. I don't think I ever finished it, actually.
So, yeah. For people who haven't seen Mindhunter, I would highly recommend that over this season of Monster.
Yes.
Then we jump to the 1970s. Well, we are in the 70s anyway, but we're in the 70s, and the FBI pays Ed Gein a visit.
Mm-hmm. Because they're looking for Ted Bundy.
Because they're trying to find Ted Bundy, and then Ed Gein is very helpful, talking about TPIs, tooth per inches.
Mm-hmm.
He basically says that he thinks he knows what kind of saw.
And in the voice of Holly Hunter from Copycat, he drives a gold VW Bug.
Then we jump to Crest Hill, Illinois to meet Richard Speck,
Oh,
that killer who killed all those nurses.
Immediately, I knew that this was Richard Speck, who became trans in prison. But Speck is in some popular films we like as well. Serial Mom, obviously, because Kathleen Turner has. Remember they play a tape recording, and I believe it's from Richard Speck in the voice of John Waters. No, that's Bundy, but she has an autograph copy of Richard Speck, a picture, and then Reese Witherspoon in Freeway carries around a picture of Richard Speck, telling people that's her father. Anyway,
well, the little segment with Richard Speck was interesting because we meet a character, and first we see their hairy legs rubbing Vaseline all over them,
mm-hmm.
and then they put on the dirtiest, shitty, bloody ass drawers you've seen.
Yeah.
And then a guard comes and says, "Oh, you have a gentleman caller." And a guard escorts Richard Speck to a private room.
This is Tennessee Williams and the Upside Down, y'all.
And then all of a sudden, Attorney Varney pops up.
Attorney Varney. You mean a big black man?
A big, handsome black man talking about he wants some action.
And he's brought some crack rocks.
Well, at first, Richard Speck's like, well...
He gives his rates.
Well, and what does he start off with? If you give me...
A carton of cigarettes?
A carton of cigarettes, I'll let you like feel my breast. Because Richard Speck transitioned in prison.
Yes.
If you give me $20 and a carton of cigarettes, I'll give you the best blowjob you ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And if you give me $50 and a carton of cigarettes, I'll let you get some backdoor action. And Attorney Varney is like, well, I don't have cigarettes, but I have some crack rock.
Oh, well then.
And Richard Speck says, well, then you can do whatever the hell you want to do to me. And then we get this man hitting it from the back. And Richard Speck talking about, well, what do I look like? The 4th of July? Say it. You look like the 4th of July. No, I don't. I look like Halloween. That was kind of disturbing. With them titties flopping.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
I'm looking at pictures of the actual Richard Speck.
Oh yeah,
he's kind of giving me Nicolas Cage
before, after
or she.
Before, after transition.
I think the picture I'm looking at is before.
Yeah, the popular pictures when he killed those nurses. That was the photo you're probably looking at. But for some reason, my dad was fascinated by Richard Speck because I remember there is footage of Speck in prison after transitioning.
Well, guess. If anyone sees me at the gym looking at Richard Speck videos, it's research, okay?
I mean, that's a terror because there are 8 or 9 nurses, and I learned about him as a small child with stuff my parents were watching, and the imagery I always have of the nurse that rolled under the bed and got away,
right?
That shit's terrifying.
It is. So. We cut back to Ed in his facility because he's at the mental hospital. Mm-hmm. And as a hobby, he carves leather nipples and then sends them to his fans. I wouldn't allow him to do that if I were in charge. Like, we can't keep this going. You need to stop with this bullshit. Then it's
a button.
Whomever wrote this, they couldn't help themselves because we get a moment where Nurse Roz is going on about mental health funding in this country, and it just felt so ham-fisted.
Clunky, because it is. Ian Brennan, who we called out already, but yes.
Then we learned that Ted Bundy idolized Richard Speck.
Well, he liked the multiple orgiastic sense of killing, so yeah.
And Richard Speck reaches out to Ed Gein and writes the letter and includes a picture of his breasts, which he then tells Ed Gein, choke your chicken to these titties.
I'm like, oh my Lord.
Someone needs to make a song out of that sound.
Choke your chicken
to these titties. I kind of want a tank top that says that.
Like, ooh, and like considering the people whose parts are involved, it's like, oh no.
But Ed, because in the letter Richard Speck sends to him, Richard Speck says, oh yeah, Ted Bundy idolizes me. He told me that he wants to go do what I did. Like he wants to go kill a sorority house full of girls or something.
Mm-hmm.
So Ed Gein immediately contacts the FBI and tells them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see that Ted Bundy's been caught. But I've already said that I thought what's his name? Charlie Hunnam
Mm-hmm.
as Ed Gein reminds me of Jake Gyllenhaal. Then I said Daniel Craig. But now that we see older Ed Gein, he's giving Channing Tatum to me.
I could see that, but immediately I thought of Gary Cooper, actually.
And his bottom lip is real
Prominent.
Bubblegum Shrimp Company.
Oh.
I don't it's a lot.
On this Irish American
Okay.
serial killer.
Then, this is all so crazy. But then we get Ed starts daydreaming about various killers thanking him for his good work.
Well,
and so then we meet Jerry Brudos again saying thank you, Richard Speck saying thank you, trying to get him to get a handful of them titties. And then we see Ed Kemper,
Manson,
Charles Manson.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me?
Well, it's because he's falling asleep in his chair, and I think that first time we see it, it's like, oh, he's ascending, like he's dying, and this is the Hall of Fame that's greeting him.
But not yet.
I thought that shit was so corny and dumb.
Yes.
Oh, my
well,
God.
It gets worse. We'll get to it.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, he is called by Nurse Roz to go sit with him, and she informs him that he has stage 4 lung cancer,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why he's been in pain and he's sleeping a lot. And she tells him the doctors can't treat it, and you probably only have a few months to live. I think you should write your own story in your own words, because everyone is writing all this and making these movies, and
it should be called "Don't Get It Twisted."
Don't Get It Twisted,
which Ryan Murphy's doing to me right now.
But he says, well, I think everyone's said enough, so I'm not going to do shit. I also kept thinking, can Ed Gein write? Like, would he be able to? He spends his days carving leather nipples. I don't know if he could write his own story. Then guess whose raggedy ass pops up?
I did not need this. Not
Adeline.
No.
They didn't even try to make her look older. They just put glasses on her ass. She looks exactly the same.
To show up and be like, guess what? I'm mentally ill.
But then I thought, is it because we're going to get to it, but like all this season of this series is fake because it's all just pretend. But then I thought, is he just imagining her with glasses on? But then she's talking like, no, all these years I've had issues and they tell me I'm mentally ill. And then she tells his ass, I have a list of people I want to kill and I'm going to keep your good work going. And she's like, bitch, I don't condone doing that. Like, you need to not kill people.
Well, then, but we're like peas in a pod. It's like, what kind of Forrest Gump shit?
Then Ed does die while watching MTV and the video to Heart's Owner of a Lonely Heart.
Yes.
And then we get like a video.
The name of the band is Yes.
I'm sorry. Yes. Sorry. Owner of a Lonely Heart by Yes. And then we get like this fantasy sequence where it's like the music video where all the serial killers are dancing and Ed is in his wheelchair and then his mama pops up.
At the top of the stairs.
Saying how proud she is of him and
no. I only wanted to please you, Mom.
That she couldn't be more proud.
And guess what? Ed Gein didn't sound like that either.
Well, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
About what's true and what's not.
Oh. Sorry, I didn't realize.
But
the devoted section to truth. Okay.
But yeah, it just felt like this episode and this season didn't want to end.
Right.
Because like you already mentioned, the first time we get the daydream of the serial killers, I thought, this fool had descended to hell.
The Hall of Fame, yeah.
But no, he was just taking a little cat nap. So then now that he is dead, and then we get this extended thing with his mother saying how proud she is of him. Then it cuts to Ed and his mother sitting on the porch.
Mm-hmm.
And she just says, only a mother could love you. Okay.
And it looks like they're farmers, keep in mind. This is like the noonday sun shining down on them.
Shouldn't y'all be working the
This
fields?
is not late afternoon, sunset. We've put in a full day. This is like, why y'all taking a break right now?
Listen, that's the least of my concerns.
But I kept also thinking of, since it makes me want to rewatch Copycat, but Sigourney Weaver, I'm the effing muse of serial killers. That's what Eddie Gein is fashioned as here.
Okay. Let's just mention that at the end of episode 8, the final episode of season 3 of Monster, the Ed Gein story, we're told that the next monster season 4 is going to be about Lizzie Borden.
Who I also was fascinated with as a child.
And guess who's playing Lizzie Borden? Another Nepo
A
baby.
Nepo baby, of course.
Ella Beatty.
And right away, is that Warren's kid?
Warren and Annette's kid.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Murphy really does like these.
I'm like, I guess my dream is crushed. I don't have a super famous parent. It's not my dream to.
What do I have to do to get attention? Kill someone?
But, God, Ryan, I don't have a famous family.
For some reason, now I'm thinking of Kristen Wiig as Liza Minnelli trying to turn off the lights.
Oh, God, yeah.
Will a Frosty Neck do it?
Will a Frosty Neck do it? Speaking of Kristen Stewart played Lizzie Borden. Christina Ricci. I used to love that little rhyme the kids would sing. Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her father 40 whacks. Before she knew what she had done, she gave her mother 41. I love that shit.
Okay, let's say our overall feelings of the season, then give your score, then let's give our pull quote so we can put this shit on Rotten Tomatoes, because my work will not be for naught. Okay, what are your overall thoughts of the season?
Caca! I think Charlie Hunnam is entertaining, albeit too good looking. I see him giving a performance. I enjoyed him well enough. Almost anything outside of like the actual timeline of Gein's life, though, I really didn't like. I thought it was messy. We forgot to mention a scene I absolutely hated in this last episode where someone desecrates the grave of.
Oh my gosh. You know what? Rewind. I totally forgot. After the Owner of a Lonely Heart music video, then we get a sequence with some badass kids at the gravesite of Ed Gein and his mother. They pull his tombstone off.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the kids, this little Boy Scout named Stiffy, he notices someone off in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
And this fool sees Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates. Then he sees Buffalo Bill with his penis tucked between his thighs. And then he gets chased by Leatherface from the Texas Chain Saw Massacre.
I thought that was so corny.
Why would Stiffy see these things?
No, again, because just Gein's potency, again, the collective subconscious.
And the fear that
these ghosts that...
I know, but it's so stupid. And then the final person you see as the kid drives away in the pickup truck. And he told his friends, hey, there's someone out here, wait up. And all his friends left.
Oh, yeah, they sure did.
But the final person you see is Ed Gein wielding a chainsaw.
But dancing like a Tim Burton protagonist in the graveyard. I think it's making it more than it is. There's this connective tissue of all these people, were maybe influenced by hearing, just like he was, kind of inspired by seeing the corpses of Jews in the concentration camps. And I think that it's an odd combination of things to be influenced to kill based on hearing about someone else doing it. But because it's not automatic, otherwise we'd have a country full of serial killers, right? I think it's missing the mark on where it's drawing the lines between these connective tissues and these moments and what they actually mean. I think it's a lot more basic about humankind, our morbid curiosity and a wish to want to understand, but not really, because the only thing we want to understand is how we're not like the people that horrify us. I think that's it. But yeah, so I think this is definitely the worst of the three thus far. And I think that maybe it also feels more forced because Murphy's going farther into the past than before. Like these other contemporary figures like Dahmer and the Menendez brothers, I'll be curious to see what he does with Lizzie Borden. But the forms of visual media that were around that caught all of these perspectives and commentary and I think there's a lot more to work with. So I think this feels a lot more, this is so much more stretched thin. The conjecture is too obvious. I don't know. Ultimately, I thought it was kind of a chore to get through. Some of these episodes, which are an hour long, I'm like, they feel double the length. I thought it was dull overall.
I would add that I feel like, it's not until episode 7 or 8 that Ed Gein says, I did this because my mother told me to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so disappointed that this season didn't focus on his relationship with his mother.
Well,
this toxic ass relationship that created an environment where, because then he also mentions at one point, I think in this episode, that he just spent too much time alone after his mother died.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this series should have been mostly his upbringing, because the crimes he committed, the two murders that he was convicted of and that were confirmed, plus the body snatching from the grave digging, you could have just had a series about that.
Well, what did I say after episode 1? I'm like, I hope we find more, even if it's pure conjecture. What did happen to Augusta Gein? Because if you think about it, really, she's the OG because she's the one who's nurturing.
Yeah, we really don't learn why she's so. We get the sense that she ran a grocery store and she made her own money, but I mean, we only get one mention of that.
And that clearly a loveless marriage that she henpecked the hell of her husband, who she at least fornicate with her twice. But it's like, what exactly happened to her that made her? If she thought all women were whores, it's like who influenced her? I guess, and then
well, because I'm assuming that she probably had
trauma.
Yeah. Like, why didn't we get that? Would have been more interesting to me than everything we've already talked about for 8 episodes. But yeah, I'm disappointed in the construction, the story they chose to tell. It just here. What would you give this season?
I think for the last half of it, I was hovering around a 2, but I so disliked the last episode that I think it's a 1.5 for me overall. I think that we don't need to stretch things out like this. We can be concise.
Can we? I would give this season 1.5 out of 5 as well.
Okay.
What is your pull quote?
Ryan Murphy's tawdry formula of conjecture and embellishment feels more forced than usual in his 3rd season of Monster, where a stretched, bloated 8-episode season attempts to pay homage to an OG serial killer, but Murphy only succeeds in killing the Gein dream.
Dang.
Which is a reference to Jawbreaker.
Mine. Tawdry and campy, Ryan Murphy's Monster, the Ed Gein Story, turns a true horror into a fantastical hodgepodge of nonsense that humanizes the killer while trivializing his victims. Death row to whomever created this.
Oh, wow. Find my new track, Hodgepodge, on Spotify.
Okay. So I was trying to research what's true, what's not. This season is mostly nonsense because which I'll get to, but so much of it is just like fantastical hallucination, so you can't trust anything.
We get an episode devoted to Adeline, but shouldn't you have given an episode to Ilse Koch and an episode to Christine Jorgensen?
Well, we'll
like while we're throwing out episodes here, giving them away.
So what's true? Ed Gein was a reclusive farmer from Plainfield, Wisconsin. He did live alone after the death of his mother, Augusta. His relationship with her was deeply controlling, which we can assume informed his disturbed POV.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, that's, I think, shown in the series. He did dig up graves at local cemeteries and exhumed female corpses that resembled his mother. He used human remains to make household items. So we see bowls, masks, lampshades, chairs, and clothing, his little skin lady suits. And then when this was discovered in 1957, it did make national news. So he was infamous at that time and continues to be, obviously. There are 2 confirmed murders of Mary Hogan, that first tavern owner, the German lady who offered to get him whores, and Bernice Warden, the hardware store owner in the season, portrayed by Leslie.
A great Leslie Manville. Yep.
And then they did find Bernice's body hanging in his shed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then Ed Gein was found legally insane and was committed to the Central State Hospital, which is what is depicted in this season. And he remained institutionalized, although he was transferred to a different institution. He remained there until his death in 1984. And then, his cultural impact is very clear with popular horror characters like Norman Bates from Psycho, Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Buffalo Bill from The Silence of the Lambs. What is fictional or exaggerated? Every damn thing else. First of all, Ed Gein, like you just said earlier, did not talk like Michael Jackson, Kermit the Frog from Minnesota, Ireland. He did not sound like that. There are recordings of him speaking, and he does not sound like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I read that Charlie Hunnam wanted to infuse some of his mother into his voice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the more high pitched tone comes from. And then his attempt at sounding Midwestern, which ultimately just sounds crazy, I think is a fail and just feels like such an odd choice. Like,
It's a specific accent, and usually when people do it, they make their characters sound simple.
well, that's my issue with it, is that I think this portrayal makes Ed Gein seem a little more innocent than he is. Like, we don't
Yes.
need to soften this man. He was deeply disturbed and did
Yeah.
horrendous things. To portray him like he's this handsome, dumb, you're portraying him like he's Lenny from A Mice and Men or
Yep.
something. Like,
Forrest Gump, Lenny.
right.
Yeah.
And I think that's weird. Ed, so I think if you search for this season on Google, the number one question people seem to have is related to episode 8, and did Ed Gein help the FBI catch Ted Bundy? Because this episode and season makes it seem like he did.
Mm-hmm.
He did not. Ted Bundy was caught because he had been arrested and for something else and then tried to escape the police car.
That's right. Yep.
So yeah, so that's made up, which I think is real crazy. Like, why even why make that shit up?
It's just really lazy because most people aren't fact checking anything. So,
and then of course, what's fictional or exaggerated is all the dialogue and personal conversations, all of these interactions, these one-on-one interactions Ed Gein had with his victims, with people in the little town he lives in, with his mother's ghost. Of course, all of that is made up. And then there are also no records of any of these exchanges.
Mm-hmm.
So then, I mean, the biggest part of this season is all the supernatural and psychological hallucinations, which are used in an abusive way, I think. It's like every other scene is like, okay, this obviously is not real. And then you're waiting for it to either cut to a Hitchcock scene or a scene from Silence of the Lambs or a scene.
It's just funny. Well, I think it speaks to Ryan Murphy's taste level, I think. And again, we all have a morbid curiosity because we're all tuning in, watching based on our experience with what Ryan Murphy does churn out. Right? We know that it's going to be in the realm of the exploitative, and this certainly is. But yet, it's not going to be subjected to the same sense of outrage as, say, Hilary Duff playing Sharon Tate.
Right.
Like there's it, and it's weird. Murphy exists in that strange world where, yes, it's, as I said, exploitative, but also there are moments that rise above it that I think are validating for its existence, perhaps. And I'm sure a lot of people might disagree with me completely, but I think we're vultures sifting through the strange queer lens of Ryan Murphy that I think there is sometimes worth there, or he stumbles upon something that maybe is accidental even about what he's trying to say.
Well, I'm trying to finish what's fiction. So the law enforcement drama, all of that was invented. Like like these deputies and the detectives and how they approached that.
You mean Bernice Worden's son was not a...
Because in reality, multiple officers were involved and unfolded in a more bureaucratic way than how it was shown in the season.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole Ilsa Koch, Nazi nurse, that's just a metaphor. There is no connection between Ilsa Koch and Ed Gein. Certainly, obviously, they never talked on the ham radio.
Well, I think it's just trying to show that this kind of the human condition was already in a place of crisis by this time, and he might have been subjected to or influenced by snippets of pictures or information that he'd heard, right?
Well, sure, but I think you could say that about
anything.
From the time I was born until I die, anything that happened during that time, you could say that influenced me.
Well,
so of course, Christine Jorgensen,
yes,
he never spoke to her. And
well, when Roz is telling him, tell your own story so it doesn't get twisted, it's like, well, people have been doing that since, I mean,
we're actively doing it right now.
We've done that with the Bible. So everybody does that with everything. So,
and lastly, of course, like the victims' perspectives, specifically Mary Hogan, because we get the most from her.
Well, I'd say we get more from Bernice.
I'm sorry, we get more from Bernice, but yeah I mean, there are no documented accounts of like his relationship with Bernice
and her pill popping.
Yeah, so I mean, all that is that's why I wrote in my pull quote, like it just feels so disrespectful to the victims. But that's the case with all of these kind of shows. It's not just Ryan Murphy; it's every narrative feature, and sometimes documentaries that are biased, where it's like, wow, people, it's like for. I think that's why I was so sensitive to the Marilyn Monroe movie, because it just felt like, damn, y'all really just because now people are going to think people think that stuff they see on social media, on YouTube, listen to on a podcast, that's like facts.
Mm-hmm. And it's not. That's correct.
But also I appreciate entertainment. I appreciate storytelling. To me, this is like gossip, and I like to gossip. But I also think it's trash, right?
It is trash. Yeah.
So I think when I'm gossiping, that's trashy, but everyone loves it. So this to me feels like gossip.
It's giving into base tendencies, I think, which we all have because there's a base to all of us. There's an id,
But unlike, I think, well, you already said it. I think because Dahmer and the Menendez brothers are more documented in modern time, it feels a little more legit because more of it was substantiated, and the conjecture that Ryan Murphy and the other creators applied to it, I think filled in the kind of blanks that we all, like for someone like myself who was alive during that time and witnessed all of it, filled in the holes that we wanted. Mm-hmm. So it feels sexy and exciting. Mm-hmm. But with this, I don't know. I think Ed Gein is an interesting figure. I don't know that he's so exciting when you compare him to the characters that were birthed from his crimes.
Well,
so that's why you have to include them. But I just think there is a much better way to do that than this shit.
The runaway train of our imaginations. Like we took a kernel of something kind of horrific and it exploded in, I think that's really what is interesting about humans is, how our creative impulse kind of magnifies things.
I think I'm done talking about season 3 of Monster.
Oh, yeah?
We gave our scores. We gave our pull quotes. I don't know how long this will be. More than 2 hours.
Oh, my God.
I think we paid our price. I hope people appreciate this.
We paid the piper. Mm-hmm.
If you feel extra appreciative, you can always Venmo us. Our P.O. box is listed if you want to send gifts.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Non-perishable items are not my favorite. We see him eating apple pie with cheese.
Yeah, that's an Americanism.
I know, and I like apples with cheese. So I think I would like apple pie with cheese.
It's fine. It's got to be
being Ed Gein.
A nice melty cheese, but I still want a la mode even with the cheese.
Can we be done?
Yeah.
Ta-ta. Oh, and join us on Patreon. Bye.